Hello, everybody. We are live as promised. Um, let's see if we can see the comments. All right. So we'll be able to see the comments if anybody hops in on our live. I tried to make it known that we're here and we're live. So far, we don't have any viewers yet, but doesn't matter. We're going to get started. First of all, I would like to see if Mrs. Curvy Impact can please introduce herself and plug any endeavors that she has.
I'm not good at this, especially right now after the circumstances. I'm like in a debilitated state for real.
Right.
I'm not expressing.
There he is.
Oh, hey.
There he is.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Well, we're just
Yo.
going through the introductions right now. Mrs. Curvy Impact is introducing herself.
All right, I'm just a 30-something in a suburb of Atlanta right now from Jersey. And that's all I got for y'all. I'm just ready to
hop into it. All right, Mrs. Tovon, Mrs. Queen Tovon, can you introduce yourself for us briefly?
Definitely. Queen Tovon, from Chicago, founder and CEO of Kings and Queens Express, my clothing brand. So, yeah, I'm ready to dive into this too.
All right.
I have a lot to say.
All right, and then we have Mr. Black Samurai. Can you introduce yourself briefly?
Black Samurai, 39, Elkhart, Indiana. I'm also entrepreneur, got my own private investigation business, EBF Investigations. Look me up if you ever need help. Also checking in to be a bounty hunter as well. So just out here trying to do my part and just, let life take me where it needs to take me.
All right, and Mr. Owl, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hey, how's it going? J. Alpha Ron, creator of Owls Asylum, writer, researcher, analyst, father, husband.
Awesome. And then I'm the hostess with the leastest. I am abstruse, and I live in the DMV area, and I'm into charity work concerning victims or survivors of domestic violence. So if anybody needs any help with resources, I got a whole network of people who can help you. You don't have to stay in a situation that you don't want to be in. All right. And so tonight's topic, I don't know if you guys saw it already. I called us the Black Justice Avengers.
I like that.
So we can have both DC and Marvel comics. If one of y'all wanted to pick a different, it'd be flexible enough. The Black Justice Avengers. And so, tonight we're going to be discussing Jacob Blake. And you have to be under a rock to not know the circumstances of which was going on for that. Who wants to start off with the eyewitness account? Did anybody look into what was being said on the street, the word on the curb?
You mean about Jacob?
Yes, about what led up to him being shot.
I don't know. It's a lot of hearsay. It's a lot of people saying things that we don't actually know what's accurate. But what I'm getting and what I'm hearing is that apparently he had a knife. But from the information that's common is that he had broken up a fight. Why would he have a knife? I don't know why. But then I'm hearing later reports saying that he had a knife on the passenger side of the vehicle. So he went in on the driver's side to grab the knife on the passenger side, and that's when the officer took the shots. I mean, it makes no sense. Nothing fits. And to me, it all turned out to look like they just wanted to shoot him because they were scared, period. Had nothing to do with him being aggressive or anything. From what I saw, he just walked away. and he tried to get in his car. I kind of assumed people were in the vehicle,
Right.
and turns out that was true. But they said he was going in there for a weapon to retaliate, and I kind of think that was fabricated.
I definitely doubt that as well. From what I heard, he was trying to break up a fight between two women,
Yep.
and he gathered his children once the police came and were rather aggressive with him. He gathered his children, put them into the van on the passenger side, and then walked around to the driver's side to enter the vehicle. And so if the knife was on the passenger side, I mean, really,
Yeah,
was he, you
makes
know?
no sense.
So does anybody else have anything to say about that?
Where are the two women at?
That's what I was thinking myself.
Right.
Shouldn't they
Right.
be the first ones to give a statement, say what happened? Like, what's going on with that?
Right.
That's my
And you know that there's still a pending investigation with Kenosha police. And you know what's really strange to me is that the Department of Justice hasn't hopped in yet. I know that they usually come in when it's what we would think is racially based police misconduct.
When is this
So,
loud anyway?
huh?
yes.
When is this loud? When the spectacle is
Right,
this loud,
right.
usually they want to take a part in it.
Right, right. And so I haven't heard of any involvement of the Department of Justice yet. And, you know, they shot him 7 times in the back. And so, you know, by any person's standard, that is a cowardly move, especially at close range. And, you know, it was very unlikely that he would survive. And he survived, and now he is possibly paralyzed for the rest of his life.
Right.
So, and we can't forget the trauma that this has put on his children. That were 3 children that were in the vehicle at the time that he got shot. I can only imagine how psychologically damaging that can be.
As well as the community. Like
Right,
there was a number of people around. This kind of reminds me a lot of the Mike Brown incident in Ferguson. You had an entire neighborhood that was around watching this, and not only did it, of course, his children. You know, you killed the father in front of they, well, not killed, but you tried to kill a father in front of their children.
right,
It purely his willpower allowed him to survive it because they was gunning for him.
definitely.
But the community as well is traumatized. You know, they had to watch that, and I'm pretty sure most people in the community now feel like, you know, extremely vulnerable. You can be killed like this too. There's
Right,
absolutely nothing stopping them from picking anybody else. If they would have shot him for that, which I don't feel like they were afraid for their lives. I felt like it was more of an ego thing. It seemed more like a
definitely,
pride thing.
definitely.
Right.
And if that can set someone off, they could have killed anybody in that neighborhood. They didn't care who was filming.
Right,
Definitely. And I think because I had to stay off of social media for like a little bit because I found myself being traumatized by the things that's going on as well. So it's like Black people around the world are being traumatized by the images that we're seeing over and over and over again on social media, the news. And it's at a point where it's just like, do anybody not think that we need any help
right,
mentally? Because we are, this stuff is tearing us up inside mentally.
Mhm.
And I
Yes.
don't know how much of this stuff that I can take.
right.
I really
Yeah.
sometimes, that's
Like,
why I'm not making TikToks like that, because I have to pump my brakes because the things that I'm seeing and just the backlash that you get on social media for speaking up against systematic racism and institutional racism and you know, injustice when it comes to Black people.
right.
Absolutely.
And
Right.
I've been so low. I was reading about what his mother was saying his first sentences were. And she said that he said he don't want to be a burden on anybody. He just want his babies, and he told her to call his boss to tell him he won't be at work. And for that to be the first things that you think of, this is not an irresponsible person. I wish I could remember the Pac lyric right now, but he said something like, "You can't help a nigga, but so you destroy your brother." You are destroying people that you're judging based on the bumptiousness in their voice, their attitude. You don't know these people.
Right.
And people, and the people that understand, the white people that understand, them reading these comments and them being devastated, like, how can people say this? People been saying it for
Right.
forever, but you didn't believe us because you didn't hear it. But now that you hear and see, it, it has to change. I'm like, so, and I also read that his grandfather fought for fair housing in Evanston, Illinois, and he actually led marches after Martin Luther King died. So this is some type of manifestation that it something is going to occur from this major. Like, I'm
Right.
just shaking up. I intentionally try to think about different things so I can not think about this thing, because all I keep doing is checking my status on my gun license. Thinking about how much money I'm gonna need, to clock up. That's what my mind is telling me right now, because you don't know what these crazy son of a weirdos are going to do.
Right.
They're
I
acting
think that's one of the
stupid,
best
and it's
responses, though.
so.
Jay, you were saying that was the best response?
I said I think that's
Yeah,
one of the best responses.
I
Like I
I,
think there have been like, eh, I hate to say I hate to limit it
I
to there's
never
only two
wanted to
responses,
hold
but
nothing,
I think
but
I've noticed there are a couple different types of responses. There's the response of trying to analyze what everybody else's response has been, a reaction has been, and then there is assessing what you need to be doing to either attempt to avoid being in that situation or how you would handle the situation if you can't avoid it. And I think everybody ought to be if I think everybody who can ought to be considering a gun license, training,
Right.
um, to the degree that you can.
Right.
And for those who may not be able to, you need to be considering, what other options you may have, or you know, fudge the rules a little bit. Whatever
Right.
causes you to be in a situation where you can't get a gun license, you may need to fudge those rules just a little bit, because you're in a situation where people are fudging rules um consistently. It
Right.
seems to be the modus operandi here.
Yeah,
It,
I kind of feel like if people aren't able to get weapons or like certified for weapons or whatnot, stay in tune with the community. If you have a tight knit community, try to build a strategy, make a plan, try to prevent anything that'll keep you from being in a trap position from where law enforcement that's not on accord with the community. Um,
right.
talk amongst the people that live around you. I'm pretty sure a lot of them feel the same way as the rest of us. You go outside, you pretty much afraid that something might happen to you, and nobody's alert or aware. Just be in tune with the community around you. Build up a strategy. Come up with a plan. Martial arts. Going to
Right.
these self-defense classes. Learn any way to defend yourself, because it's getting to the point now where all actions taken upon law enforcement won't be held accountable and
Right.
will be looked at as the bad guys in that situation. So if you can get the communities and everybody to actually look after each other, it's like a neighborhood watch type deal, then we'll have more of a chance to beat things like this. But you got so much segregated people in the areas that really don't stand on the same line with you. So it might make it a little bit difficult to possibly do that, depending on where you live. Like myself,
yeah,
I
I
live in
so
an area
wish.
where there's mostly Latinos and Blacks. So we all see what happens, and we kind of keep updated on each other just to know, our whereabouts and keep things safe. And that took place when the COVID began. So I think that's real beneficial, and it helps out a lot, even when you don't have other sources such as like weapons to defend yourself or training and other things like that.
Right.
I
And
would
so
I definitely agree with that.
yeah, and I remember like exchanging number with my neighbors when we had a fire at an apartment building, and it took an emergency to do that. You know, we usually kind of keep to ourselves and do our own thing, but you know, community is unity, and so
Right.
definitely have to look out for each other. And so thank you. Greetings, Lance Beeman. Thank you for joining us. And then Ron L said self-preservation is first. Definitely,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
definitely. And you
Yes,
know,
yes, for
it
sure.
definitely, you know, there's more weapons than a gun.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And greetings, Lance. I just want to speak to
Yeah,
Lance.
yeah.
yes, yes. Greetings, Lance. Thank
Right.
you guys for joining us tonight. And so yeah,
And I wish
definitely
I could remember the title of my book. So um,
I didn't hear what she said.
I didn't hear what you said, Kirby.
I was saying about my community. I don't have a community really. I went to the community library yesterday, like a little box they put books in and stuff. Well, it was some book. I can't remember the title, but the front cover was a big ass swat. I
Oh,
don't feel like anybody around here really cares about anything.
you know what? I can definitely kind of relate to that. I'm no longer living in a predominantly black neighborhood anymore, and I'm in Chicago. I'm around a bunch of literals. So, they have their Black Lives Matter signs outside, but don't rent to black people like that. But but
Black
you
deaths
know,
matter.
you know. So you know how that go. Hey,
I'm gonna be honest with you. Sometimes it can be difficult. Even I live around all black people. I probably can count on one hand how many white people live in this neighborhood. And my son about to be 4 in February, spend gifts on Amazon. Um, and I bet he can't count more than four people that he knows in his entire more than four white people that he knows in his entire life.
right.
And even in that particular situation, it can be difficult to get these people to work together. To
Yeah.
just meeting people. We're uptight. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We're all kind of uptight. We're all working our ass off. Even the retired
yep.
people in the neighborhood, have their own concerns. And you know where I am able to do a quick meet and greet. I do it, but I do live in a this I'm in Baltimore, and so there is kind of a culture of you see somebody, you want to nod and keep it moving as opposed to wave and shake hands. So even in the black community, it can be difficult to bridge these gaps or whatnot, and forge these communities. But that's why they call it the struggle. That's why they call it the work. If it was easy, we wouldn't be talking about it.
It definitely is a struggle because I was on what 79th in Chicago, Illinois. That when I say these areas are two different worlds, it's just that two different worlds. It's hard to kind of communicate with your own people sometimes, and start a something positive. I understand that we deal with a lot of trauma that is kind of people are kind of unaware of the trauma that we deal with on a day-to-day basis. Even sometimes we are unaware of the trauma that we deal with on a day-to-day basis. We don't know what it is. We don't know what to call it. All we know is that we're broken, that we're hurt. We don't want to talk to nobody. We don't want to speak to nobody. We don't want to ask for help. We don't need help. And it gets to a point where it's just kind of like that's what causes that separation within the black community because that trauma and us not knowing that it's trauma something could be a mental illness, and we not knowing and recognizing what it is, and we turn so cold inside. We don't ask for anything. We don't speak to each other. We don't even smile or nod at each other. You can't stare at somebody for too long in Chicago.
Yeah,
Right.
Like
yeah,
you cannot.
yeah. I can imagine. Yeah, yeah. Most of these urban environments are like that. There are some cities that I've been in. Staring somebody, that's almost a violation of their private space.
Right.
So you
Yes.
do want to be careful, and ultimately you kind of want to keep this to maybe your neighborhood until you can expand. But I do feel like one of the major. I'll respond. I'll give my assessment of other people's assessment real fast. I do feel like right now there are just way too many activists and not enough organizers. And I do feel
Definitely.
like you do need a more local response to all of these activities. And if you are going to be involved in that kind of way, you need to be teaching and training the people that have to live in these communities,
That's right.
as opposed to just showing up. Get your TikTok off, or get your Instagram off, or get your tweet off, and then
Right.
disappear. That's
Right.
not helping anybody. You know what I
Definitely.
mean? It might help your pockets or whatever, but it's not really helping anybody in the community dealing with, like we're saying, the trauma. And so it is kind of better for us as individuals to kind of step outside of our homes and at least get to know our neighbors and try to forge those
Hmm.
like
Yeah.
what our what our parents and our parents, they people was mad nosy and probably took advantage of these networks, but
Yeah.
they had those
Definitely.
networks because they were necessary. They were part of the survival thread in the community.
Hmm.
Yes. And
Yeah,
so,
it's too many individuals. It's too many
right.
individuals now.
Too many
Like
Right.
individuals. It's too
back
many.
when I was younger, I do believe most neighborhoods were all for each other. There were block club
Definitely.
parties for you to get to know everybody in the
Right.
area, and everybody was kind of tight knit. Even if you didn't like somebody, you still looked after them. If you
That's
saw
right.
something you knew that they weren't
Yes.
supposed to be doing, they would inform your folks. Now you don't get that. It's
Right.
either they'll either harass your children or they just don't like y'all, those people down the street and stuff like
Right.
that. It's
Right.
like it's
Exactly.
a lot of tension in neighborhoods
Right.
now instead of just people looking out for each other. So I think that needs to come back. The old ways need to come back because now
They do. I
everybody
agree.
for themselves. Nobody really
I
want
agree.
to be there for others. So
You
I
know,
agree. Absolutely.
I was
Absolutely agree.
talking about that with a friend who wanted to open up, I guess, a center for the young men here in Chicago so that they can have something to do. I said, I'm like, that is a great idea. I even gave her, ways on how to do it. But the simple fact, what kind of made me upset about the whole situation was like, she didn't want to, you know, actually get to know the community like that. It's like I understand that you live in that community and I understand that, you see the terrible things that go on there and you want to help. But if you
Right.
want to help, you have to you have to you have to get to know these people.
You got to
That's
extend
right.
yourself.
You can't just collect money from a neighborhood
Right.
and
Right.
think you're not going to get to know these people.
That's right.
They ain't gonna go for
That
it. They gonna
like
smell you real quick.
exactly. Exactly. I'm like, girl, if you want to help, you got to get to know people in the neighborhood. Don't go in there and just take and take and take and take because the black community have so much of that.
Right.
So much of that
That's
already
right. That's
that
right.
is draining our pockets.
That's right.
We don't
And,
need no
and
more of that.
and we definitely have to keep in mind that um, we have a lot of mistrust with one another, but we
yeah,
don't mistrust the people that we should mistrust, right? And so to me, in Kenosha, I don't know about them and their situation. However, if that community, it looked like a pretty much predominantly black community from what I saw the footage of all the neighbors coming outside to look at what was going on. And if that community decided to regulate itself rather than call the police, it probably would have prevented a lot of extra stuff. I'm not sure if those two women that were fighting had weapons or not. I highly doubt it. Um, but if they didn't have weapons, I mean, do we have to really call the police if no one is injured seriously.
Right.
These are types of things that we have to consider because we can't take lightly when we call a
What
majority
can you
white
do right
police force in a black community. We have to realize the implications that are there. We can't take it lightly. We have to call for super emergencies, not
This is
for
when,
And
situations
that's
like that.
crazy to me. That's crazy to me. The fact that he went out there to break up a fight only to get shot. Like he went out there to do something civil and break up something between two sisters,
right.
only to for the cops. Wasn't he the one to call the cops?
I'm
Wasn't
not even
somebody with
sure.
him?
I will
But
have
I
to look
don't
into
know.
that.
But
the
yeah,
crazy part is they came after him as if he had the altercation and he ended up getting shot and he was literally out there to break up a fight.
Right.
Like we can't even do right without getting shot. Like
exactly.
really, like
It's like
he
the
was
first
man in his
thought.
business. Went
Right.
out there, broke that up, caught bullets at the end. Like, come on now. Now that's preventing people to have like an act of kindness to do something outside of themselves
Yeah.
because the outcome might end up like that. Like that's it's kind of hard to just try to be a nice human being
Right.
when you got cops like this just looking for any reason to just let off a clip on you and then
Mm-hmm.
act like they justified by it when really there was no need for a weapon in any of that situation. But
Definitely.
somehow the cops managed to have a reason or find a reason to do that and then justify that. Like it's
Yeah,
getting crazy and
I'm
it's
kind of
just
getting
picking up.
tired of that narrative of if you don't comply, you got to die.
Right.
Yeah,
It's kind of
true
getting
that.
old at this point.
It's really
Um,
getting old.
yeah,
Even when you comply, they kill you.
that's
I mean,
right.
the whole thing. I mean,
Right,
the word has
right.
to be genocide. Right now, the police, the law enforcement throughout the United States of America has their marching orders. There is a genocide. There's an ethnic cleansing or a racial cleansing, whatever the language needs to be. There is a continuation of what happened after Reconstruction and what gave birth to the Klan. Is only thing is being implemented through the law enforcement agencies.
Right.
They're shooting to kill. They come into the neighborhood. They don't care that they have an assignment, that these are the people that pay their salaries. They
Right.
don't look at you
Mm-hmm.
as those who are there. They are there to serve and protect. They look at you as an alien,
Mm-hmm.
somebody in, a village in somebody in some foreign country, and they're killing us. No
Right.
matter no matter if you're in your car, no matter if you tell them, hey, it's a gunner, no matter if I'm filming this, no matter if the whole neighborhood is out, they're shooting to kill. 7 times, that's,
That's
Excessive.
extreme.
I'm
yeah,
Right.
not
and
sure.
and and it completely lacks any sense of accuracy or any sense of, like a doctor in the medical profession. We require them to act with a particular level of surgical accuracy. Whatever you do,
Right.
you should be, it should be done with a particular kind of precision and a level of efficiency. You shoot somebody 7 times, dog. That's not efficient.
No.
No.
Like what would you attempt, like literally what were you attempting to do other than killing? Then you shot him in the back. What were
Right.
you attempting to do other than kill him?
Right.
And then you weren't even good at that. But that's another story. That's another story. The fact of the matter is, you were not trained to in any other kind of way disarm them in the case of, this supposed fear.
Right.
Right.
And it's like, and then you kept shooting and shooting after the first
And
one.
shooting
And
and
I don't
shooting
know
and
why these
shooting.
people can't tell the difference between being scared to get your ass beat or being scared to die,
Right.
because it's not the same level of fear. Okay,
Or
Exactly.
just
I've
or
been
just
Exactly.
don't
held
see
at
you as
gunpoint.
human.
I've been held at gunpoint. I've been held at knife point. I had girls following me to beat me up. I was not fearful of them girls following me to beat me up. Okay, they didn't beat me up. I just kept walking.
Right.
It's like it's not the same thing. So I don't understand why they pick these people and then train them like this,
Exactly.
like it's a cashier job. Okay, bananas
It's
4011, broccoli whatever 4032. It,
it's
it
not
it
difficult to
needs to
become a
be
cop.
extensive. You need to show that you can care for your community because we pay you, and they need to start making these people live in the communities again
Thank
because
you.
before if you was an officer, you had to live where you protect.
Right.
That needs to be implemented. If you're not familiar with the neighborhood, like I'm glad that my cousin who is a cop, he patrols his old neighborhood. That's where him and I went to school. So he knows the neighborhood. He's not scared to walk the street. And it's like if you're scared to walk up the street in your street clothes, you should not patrol there. Because you're not protecting nobody but yourself every time you hit those streets.
Exactly. And so there was a few people who said that, when we talk about defunding the police, most of the police live in different neighborhoods than that what they're policing. And so what you're doing is you're
Right.
taking money out of that community, that black or brown community, and they live in a white community, and you're giving it to them, and their school districts get better funding because they have to pay more taxes. And so this is nothing new. This has been happening since integration. Ever since integration, we've had people taking from our communities and taking it out elsewhere. And so all of our tax money, our hard-earned dollars, they go to a different community because, like, for example, the police live in a different community, but they're policing where we're at. And so Ron L actually said, then they criminalize the victim. They have him right now cuffed to the bed in the hospital. The nerve
Yep.
of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
As
His
if he
father,
did something, as if he hit
right,
somebody 7 times
Yeah.
in the back
right,
They made him the
in front of their
problem.
I
kid, their
think
children.
I think they still plan on taking him to jail or like locking him up because they're
They
going to
are
count that for resistance. So
right,
he's
because
still locked in. He's still a prison. He's still a criminal to them. He
and it's
resisted.
like
So they're gonna wait till he heal up, find out when he get better, and then they probably gonna do something with that, lock him up or something. It's like they're convinced that he was the bad guy.
Or they
right,
gonna
That's
try, or they
basically
gonna try
what
to make
they.
him the bad guy to
Yeah,
so it looks better for them.
yeah.
exactly.
exactly.
What is there? Is there a such thing as a felony resisting arrest? I mean, like
I don't
what
know
is
how
that?
you
Is
can
that
resist an arrest when you wasn't charged or arrested for a crime. What are you
yeah?
Right.
And
resisting?
then there's that.
Yeah,
It
That's why
y'all
that
keep
knife
saying
lies
bad words.
being up there. They keep throwing out that lie about the knife because they looking for a
Hmm.
reason to keep
Yeah.
him in cuffs.
right,
For
That's
some
why
reason,
they
have you
doing that.
seen that man in that green shirt hold that knife out like this, follow the cops around? They was out there, they let him sit down.
right.
If they have the
Yep.
patience for him, they can have the patience for anybody. And
Right.
anybody that can't see that you need my glasses because it's blatant as far as I'm concerned. Okay.
Right.
If they're not doing that as a protocol, you when you're at work, you don't I do what I want to do. But there's a handbook, right? And there's guidelines that you have to follow
Exactly.
when you're there. So
Protocol.
why are y'all trying to act weird about this shit? It's just very
Definitely.
And
strange.
they,
People,
they got a
the
shit ton of stuff on the
they
utility
lie.
belt. I mean, you got like a Batman utility belt full of stuff, but
Right.
Right.
yet you're afraid of everything. You shouldn't
Exactly.
even be a cop if that's the case. Like,
Don't.
why are you so afraid? You're the
Right.
Exactly.
one with all the artillery. Like, why are
Yep.
you afraid running around and then you flinch the moment someone else does something? And it
Our
might not
melanin
even
is
be
a
an
weapon.
aggressive action.
Right.
Our
World
melanin
So
is a
to me,
weapon.
superheroes
that's
use all
crazy.
their tools.
Right. It's like our melanin is a weapon. And so,
Yeah,
Hmm.
facts.
that's reason enough to, treat our women roughly. That's a reason to try to shoot to kill our men. I mean, when people, half the people that say things about self-defense, I don't know if they've ever taken a weapons training course
They
ever,
haven't done
Of course
anything.
but
not.
They haven't taken
self-defense
one, read about
is
one,
from the
seen
waist
one.
down. Self-defense is below the waist.
Right.
For what I learned when I was training for my weapon. So, you know, I don't know what they consider shooting someone in the back as disabling someone, but you can
Well,
disable them in other
in,
areas.
in my
You know,
neighborhood, if you hit somebody from the back, you're considered,
a coward.
scary. A punk.
Yeah,
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
Yeah.
right.
that's what it is,
right.
and that's all that it was. They're
Yeah,
scary. You should not be on that job if you're that scared.
right.
Okay?
And so
It's not.
Lance, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm listening. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so Lance said the current occupant of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue has given them the green light to act like this.
Mm-hmm.
Lance, I
You
would
know what?
argue,
Yeah. I feel like what's going on now, especially like with Trump being in office, these people think they can act crazy. And
right?
they have been waiting for this moment for a
Yep.
long time.
Definitely.
These people have been training for this moment.
Ooh.
When
Yes,
black
they.
people, we thought that it was peaches and cream because we got Obama. We laid back for a while and we relaxed for a
Mm-mm.
while they were training.
Right. Right.
These people been training to
That-
get. They've been training for a long time, a long
I
time.
I was saying earlier today, they was just reading the old times and saying, I wish I can call somebody a nigga on the street today. Like,
Right.
if they can put out a white only sign right now, they would. And I won't put it past nobody. Nobody, especially my husband. He left work the other day. This lady asked him for directions to a church. They was going to go see the RNC in the church. Okay, what
Ridiculous,
you
ridiculous.
fraudulent? They can't wait, and that's what they want.
Yeah, that's exactly what they want. I've been actually looking at some right winger TikTokers, and I found one that said some outrageous stuff, and I put captions all over the and so they talk about being God fearing, but what are you God loving, right?
Right. Ooh.
Um,
Ooh.
you know, do you practice the same principles of love and
No.
brotherhood, sisterhood as the Bible says, or are you cherry picking because of your biases?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, so I'm not particularly saying that one religion or the other. I'm pointing out, wow, out of all the things in
Oh,
your
we could say
religious text,
Christian, Catholic.
You know what?
That's
I
fine
keep
I'm trying
telling
because
not
the
to.
people.
biggest arguments I've gotten into it on
Right,
Facebook is with my family's Catholic, you know, whatever they call churchgoers. They're the people that go
right.
to their church that they're close with and their family with. But ooh, they the first ones. I didn't even say nothing to the dude. I guess
They
he
do
saw
be the
me
first
push this
ones.
lady out the day before, and he's like, "You think you know everything, don't you?" Like, no, I know what I know. You're mad. Why? He was cursing and everything, but he was
Right.
a church going guy at the
So
Catholic
here's the
church.
thing um, about that, and people that say that they're God loving people but don't love black people. And, you know, white people have been able to wear these suits for centuries that have that cross on it and still been able to burn crosses in black people's yard, hang you from it with the cross on that, you know, right there on the shoulder,
Right.
all under the name of God,
That's right.
Jesus Christ.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
One
so
thing. Oh, go ahead.
well, we got to remember that this is kind of nothing new, right? The
Yeah.
Ku Klux Klan, was definitely a part of the white Christian church.
Right.
So,
Definitely.
white supremacy is white supremacy, whether you put, the Jesus label on it or the Muhammad label on it or the Buddha label on it. A lot of these religions are anti-black. And so, and it's not just here in the United States, around the world. So
Definitely.
when we look at, how people use their religion as an excuse to be inhuman, inhumane,
Mm-hmm.
um, unempathetic, it just highlights the type of person that they really are. And
Right.
so Lance says that too many of our people blew these people off when they started saying they were going to take their country back. They meant that with every fiber of their being.
Thank you.
Right.
As
They did.
soon
They did.
as they said Obama won, you have white people. Oh, we gonna take this country back. Just wait. You watch and see.
Right.
They've been. Come on now.
And as soon as Trump won, I said, I know this is going to fuck my life up in a major way. And I'm willing
The,
to
the,
go
I,
through with whatever it takes me because at the end, it's going to be needed. We're going to cut people off. We see you for what you are. You know, really, I'm not wasting no energy on you.
Right.
I'm going to get what's mine. You just wait and see. And then y'all going to go back to pretending
Right.
When all has
like
been said
everybody.
and done, and all this stuff is going on that we see happening before our eyes, is the Civil War really over with though?
Hmm.
Like, is it really over with though?
Right.
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 I think the Civil War is over. I don't think
I
they
will
want
hope
us to be
so.
slaves. I think they want us up out off the land. You know, the history shows that, you know, they right now white people look at us as the same way that, you know, they look at every other group, group that they become hostile to, mainly the Mexicans. They look at us the same way that they look at the Mexicans. They
Right.
look at us as a foreign entity. They look at us as an economic threat. They look at us as a moral threat. They look at us as a biological threat. And and this particular group of people historically, they simply don't want us around them. They want us to be out of the country, do whatever we need to do,
Right.
even if that means that they have to kill a lot of us.
Right.
They don't believe that many of us are human. It takes a murder on video for them to even begin to humanize us to the
Right.
point where we can even begin to have this level of the conversation. One more thing I want to say. I, I feel like I think we had more of these types of instances under Obama than we have under Trump.
Mm.
And I feel like and that's not to say that a sentiment isn't out there that may have been triggered by the Obama presidency, but I think that the police in these communities have always, especially after Biden, especially after the dog whistling of super predator and all of this kind of language from back in the 90s and even in
Right.
the 80s with the war on crack, the war on drugs, the war on poverty, the war
Right.
on black people,
That's right.
even and the poor. So even with all with that, you know, I feel like the police had ramped up in anyway. Mass incarceration had ramped up anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, yes. And so Lance Beeman says we're going to have a hard way to go, even if Biden wins, because Trump and his predecessors have stacked the courts with the youngest right-wing judges that they could get appointed. Okay,
Yep.
and so that's very true. And we've also got to keep in mind that we don't have uh, a Thurgood Marshall in the Supreme Court right now. You know, where as opposed to during, the 70s, a lot of times it felt like we had a lot more insulated protection because we had the Congressional Black Congress that
That
first
was
started.
actually active at that
Yes,
time.
yes. And fought on our behalf. And we had Thurgood Marshall as a Supreme Court justice, and so no problem. Right now, it feels as though that we don't have anyone in the system that is for us. Even when President Obama was there, his solution to Dr. Henry Louis Gates for being arrested because he refused to show his ID to a police officer in his own damn home was Beer Summit. You should listen to the police. That's the type of black president we had. Was you have to comply no matter what. You can get beat up and arrested, even if you are a Harvard graduate on television 4 nights a week on PBS. That's the message that we got. And you know what? Every time we wanted to raise a ruckus during the Obama administration, we were kind of put to the side because we don't want to be difficult during his presidency. That's what it felt like to me. We wanted not to make it tough for the first Black president because he already had the Congress full of Republicans, majority Republicans, as resistance to everything he did. And he also had, teabaggers or teacup party people. uh, he had those people. My bad. It was a Freudian slip. Yeah, they're teabaggers. I'll call them that. We had the Tea Party resisting Obama with a noose around a monkey, while they were on his front lawn at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. So we had, it took a long time for us to get to this position because we got complacent. And so this has always been happening. I don't want to put it all on Trump that out of nowhere racism was born.
Right.
And Trump is the first racist president. I don't want to put it all on Trump, but I definitely feel like Trump dog whistles the hell out of that base. You were saying something, Black Samurai?
I was agreeing with you, but I also wanted to say that he actually made them more comfortable to be racist.
Right.
Now, what I've learned when he started the election, there was so many people who just quick to call you out your name, just say whatever they feel because they felt like, oh, we got rid of the Black dude, we got Trump now, we empowered, we tough now. He don't really care for y'all too much, so we don't have to care no more either. No more fake smiles. And that's what you're seeing right now. You're seeing the true identity of most of the people that support him who really hid their faces the entire time when other presidents in this time were presidents because they knew it was bad. But right now, he's showing them that it's okay. Be a jerk, be a douche, it's fine. We backing each other up. And also, right before he became president, if you were a Facebooker, you would get these posts saying how Ku Klux Klan was preparing and setting things up. So this was already in preparation. Like all this, they're militarized now. They knew what they were gonna do, and all he did was point in the direction he wanted them to go. And this is exactly how they moving. And that they can be who they want to be. They're gonna show their real face, and then they also feel like they're gonna win. So that's how they moving right now. They moving like cocky people who know they're gonna win, and that's the hard part because some people are acting like they don't understand. Everybody understand what's going on.
Okay,
what's that?
Jay?
No, I was gonna say I actually don't have a problem. Like I have a problem with the police because you are the state. Right. I pay for you. You out of my pocket. You know what I'm saying? You're here to serve me. You're to help. You're supposed to come in and clean up and make sure everything is okay. I pay you. These other people, I get. I get that. And Trump did what Obama did. Trump saw a group of people who were vulnerable, who needed a champion, and he became their champion. The same thing Obama. The difference between Obama and Trump is when Black people rallied over Trayvon Martin, Aiyana Jones, Rakia Boyd, pick from the list. It's a long list.
Right.
Even Obama's own colleague in Cambridge at Harvard, Skip. When his colleague had his house invaded, that was a home invasion. The police went in his house, arrested him in his own house.
Right.
And Obama had a beer party with the police who did it. Obama made America comfortable.
That's right.
When who was the brother? Was a brother who got killed in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Instead of stopping in Baton Rouge, and Obama never came to Ferguson. Never came
Right.
to Ferguson. He called the Baltimore uprising a bunch of thugs. He flew over the protest in Baton Rouge after the who is it? Alton Sterling. So many names under the Obama presidency.
Right.
He flew over them, landed, and gave basically a nod to the police in Texas. An event had occurred in Texas, and he stood with the police in Texas while there was a protest going for the murder of a brother by the police. And so all through even the situation out in New York, all through his presidency, he made the police extremely comfortable
That's right.
with his position.
Right.
Mm.
Yes, exactly. And so he never, in my opinion, you know, if we're going to be completely honest, all of these politicians that say they're tough on crime, that's code words for lock niggas up. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So
Fact.
whenever you hear someone, we're going to be tough on crime, they're not saying we're going to be tough on the white drug addicts, we're going to be tough on the pedophiles or anything like that. No, they're talking about going on the other side of the tracks and keeping those niggas in line. That's what they're
Basically,
talking about.
that's exactly what that is.
So, and I haven't seen a politician that doesn't run on tough on crime besides maybe Bernie Sanders, maybe. So, you know, I also wanted to get to Jacob Blake's family's statements, right? You mentioned the statement the mother made. The first things he was worried about was his children and the job, making sure that his job knew he wasn't going to be available, as if he didn't know that it was a national spectacle already.
Mm.
And so Jacob's father, he's been keeping everyone, he's been vocal, more vocal than I've seen any of the victims' parents. Um, and so Jacob's father was actually discussing how, um, you know, this is not okay. He's not forgiving people, you know. And then his sister gave a really powerful
Oh
speech.
yes, she did.
And she said she didn't even cry over it because she's been crying. She's cried out. And so when you come from that perspective, that she's numb because this doesn't surprise her anymore. Like, how do you get to the point where, you know, obviously she has some self-awareness because she's saying those other victims of police brutality are her brothers and sisters, that when her blood brother is critically injured, like she doesn't feel anything because she's all cried out. How do you guys, what do you guys think of that statement she made?
It's
Um,
very powerful. And you know, I'm really big when it comes to like talking about trauma and mental health and things of that nature. When I say that everything that they're showing us on social media, on TV, is to condition us to, you know, feel a certain way. So
mhm.
when you're seeing these things, they already know what they're doing when they're showing you these images of black men being shot, black women being treated poorly. You know, it's going to get to a point where a lot of black people are just going to feel so numb to everything that's going on that the fight will eventually die down because we're all tired, we're traumatized, and we don't have that physical energy to fight anymore. And we're talking to a lot of other people, we're getting to that point. So it's getting to that point where we're tired and we don't even have the energy to cry over the stuff no more.
Yeah.
Right.
I know that I'm tired. I mean, I haven't cried over this because every time I see one after the other, I just become more strategic in my mind. I'm making plans, because I don't have time to give that type of emotion to the situation because readiness, today I did cry. I cried because I seen Fetty Wap and I'm so sad for him. He was so doing so good. But um that's what I cry about. Like, but every time I see a death, it's like I gotta be strategic, and I don't want to have to think about the things that I may have to possibly do in order to make it to the next day and make sure that my kids wake up, my whole family wake up, we good. you know I live in the suburbs, and somebody went in my car the other day. So it's like I've never had my car broken into when I was in New York on Roselle, but here, this type of stuff is happening. It's just very strange. I'm overcome with emotion. I'm just weakened to the thought, the trauma. So I understand completely.
Yeah, I think it'll get worse before it get better. Um,
Oh yeah,
it's like you got to develop a tough skin for it. Sometimes you feel like you're not human because you don't carry the same emotions that you should display because of these incidents taking place. But I think it's making us tougher in some way, and we just enduring it. I mean, our ancestors done it,
well
we doing it, but
hmm
I also think like sometimes it's because I think a lot of people are afraid to fight back.
Oh yeah,
Right.
I
You
honestly
know
feel like that.
what?
I think a
yeah,
lot of people are afraid to fight back. People are afraid that they'll win. Well, not us, but them.
right,
They'll win if
hmm
we fight back.
correct,
I'm at the point where I don't care. I'd rather take a L fighting for something than just sitting there letting everything take place, and we steady take getting bodies. We steady piling up body bags
right,
of our people because we too afraid to say something, stand up, and be strong about it.
right,
I refuse to kiss ass of anybody that want to make my people look like we ain't worthy of living here.
hmm
So I just use all these as battle scars. You know what I'm saying?
right,
I let them scab up and I just toughen up for it because
hmm
I'm prepared for it. And
yeah,
I'm not really prepared for it, but I
no,
can
yeah,
put myself in the mode where I feel like I'm prepared for it and I'm ready for whatever because if we don't stop it, it's just gonna continue. And then
hmm
what? You might as well put chains on us and shackles and just make us walk in the line now because ain't nobody gonna say nothing or stand up. I
right,
say we fight for it.
hmm
We ain't got nothing else to lose. It's a lot of
Definitely
the
don't.
chips are stacked against us.
right,
Like, why let them stack higher? Why don't we
Right.
knock some of them chips down and try to, get some leverage for ourselves? Because
Yeah.
it
hmm
won't work out if we just sit here and trying to playing their game and they make the rules. We'll still
Right.
lose regardless because they'll just change the rules.
hmm
Like, forget all that. Just
right,
change the whole game. Just knock all that off the table and we create our game. That way they have to figure out our game. So we change the rules and they'll never know a strategy on how to stop that.
correct.
That's how I feel.
That's
Like
that's
I
guerrilla
told this,
warfare 101.
I told this guy the other day that
Facts.
there were people during the civil rights movement who were saying, "Why y'all out there starting trouble? We doing fine here. We don't have no trouble here." The elderly black people telling them, "Don't go out there. Don't march. Don't do this."
Right.
Like, you're one of those people, and those people, who are they? They're not remembered. Okay,
Right.
you have to fight for something,
You
because
definitely
are
Yes.
you
do.
gonna do? Those people, they just revered in the work that other people put in. Like, oh, they did do a good job. Fall in line, because it's a serious thing. Okay, don't take it too lightly. It has to happen.
Right.
It's like a lot of people asking us to just take a beating from a bully and don't do anything. Well, that bully
Exactly.
gonna keep pounding
Exactly.
on you until either you dead
Exactly.
or you fight back. I
If
choose
you
to
let them,
fight back.
right?
I hate to use this comparison, but it's like a woman or a man being in a domestic violence relationship. You
Facts.
gotta walk on eggshells so that you don't get your ass kicked today.
Mm-hmm.
Don't
Right.
wear that. I don't know, the person might be tempted to do something to you. You can't say that because that might get you hit in the lip. You can't do that because you might lose your life. It's just kind of like, and I see Lance, what he said here, black people are afraid of losing the little bit that we do have.
Right.
Such as employment.
Right.
And that's how they keep us chained up with employment.
Right. And
all these NBA players are not playing. Just imagine if black people was to walk out of their goddamn jobs today and just say, fuck it.
Right.
I will not work here no more. I will not shop here no more until the U.S. give us what we need, what we deserve. I want my fucking 40 acres and mule that my people was fucking promised we would let go. That's what I want.
Right.
That's it. My
inheritance. What I want.
That's what I want.
I don't want nothing else. I don't want to be bothered after that.
Yep.
Right.
You won't hear a damn thing from me no more. You won't have to hear black people playing the victim anymore.
Right.
You won't hear a damn thing from us.
Right.
That's
You still
exactly.
hear from me.
You can use the
community,
N-word
and
properly.
no, you
If you can
cannot
use the
come
N-word,
in.
I wouldn't care.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I'm a rich nigga.
Exactly.
No, you
I
call
don't.
me
I
a
don't. I don't
nigga.
think the money.
When
I don't
I'm-
think the money
when
is
I'm at work, I do
in the
what I want.
consideration. No, I think there's always going to be. I think there's always going to be an antagonism against the black estate, no matter what it looks like, and no matter what shape or form it appears in. When black people, we talk about Tulsa, the Greenwood district of Tulsa. We talk about Black Wall Street, Negro Wall Street a lot. It's gotten a lot of media attention, but that wasn't an isolated event. There were a lot of these types of towns. Black people had been forced into a black nationalist position where they had to depend on one another, and they took the situation of isolation and segregation, and they competed, and they were better than their white counterparts.
That's right.
And that's what caused their white counterparts to begin to burn their towns and kill black men. The red papers, Ida B. Wells's red papers, is really this indictment of white America lynching black men because they was making money, they were surviving, and they were thriving.
Right.
I don't ever feel like, no matter what black people do after this, after slavery, after all of this, it's never going to matter. We're always in a fight. It's like with Britain and the settlers that were here. Once United States of America broke it off, it was kind of like I thought the intimate partner violence analogy was apropos. The boyfriend don't stop chasing because you left. He gonna call you back, gonna try to wheel you back in, and that's what happened with Britain and United States of America. After the United States of America got its independence or whatever, they still had another war. They still had some beef. They still had problems. It took a long time before these two nations were able to come to the table and look at each other as allies.
Right.
It's gonna take a very, very, very long time. And black people are going to have to figure out a way to get their own everything from land to military.
Definitely.
Because this is not ever going to end. This
Right.
is probably going to be an eternal fight. Our histories are just too ugly.
Right.
And right now,
that's what Marcus Garvey was trying to do that. And that's why they came at him so heavy. He was trying to build his own military and make his own bread.
And
they infiltrated that.
Right.
Yeah, he was close. He was very close. And I don't think nobody other than I don't know, I might be wrong, but the Black Panthers were close.
Yeah.
After him, maybe.
I think all of them had their own.
And high key.
Go ahead.
Because they were killing.
No,
people.
I was just gonna say, I absolutely agree with you. I just think that I think Marcus Garvey did a better job of gathering what we refer to now as the boule, the the upper
Upper
class
class,
black
yeah.
professional blacks.
Right.
He was able to organize them, and he had so many of them. He had
Right.
so
Yep.
many professional black people listening to him, and ready to go back to Africa, ready to give him money. He made every business needs a whole lot of capital to be successful. For what he did, I think he's to be commended. And I think the Panthers did, I think the Panthers did a great job of being able to execute communalism
Community
in
outreach. Yeah.
in the hood. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? They were able to feed poor people.
That's
I
right.
think we always talk about the guns with the Panthers. To me, that's not. To me, the guns they're important, absolutely important. We wouldn't even be tripping off the
Yeah.
Panthers if it wasn't for the guns.
Right.
But I thought the grocery bags was just as important. Feeding the
Definitely.
children was just as important. Teaching
Right.
children is just as important, probably even more important to the government than the guns.
Right.
So I think
Yes,
both
I agree.
Marcus Garvey and the Panthers, I think they were supposed to be commended. They both did really, they executed very well until they couldn't.
Right.
Right.
And
Right.
so, those both of those entities were dismantled by the
Same person, J. Edgar Hoover.
Yep. Yep.
so we have to keep that in mind. And so and they didn't play. They infiltrated, they instigated, they assassinated. So those are not things to be taken lightly when we talk about huge movements like that. And I'm not saying it as a tactic of fear.
No.
I'm saying as more of a thing of preparation. Like if we're going to make big moves like that, we've got to be prepared for the type of retaliation that happens.
Yep.
A lot of times people will say Black people go back to wherever, but I believe in my heart that if Black people made a mass exodus and took ourselves, our resources, our education to Africa, they would stop us one way or another, or make everybody land the planes. They would stop all the ships, and they would be like, you Negroes ain't going nowhere.
Exactly.
I think the Africans would also have a problem. I think we would become like the Jews.
Right.
The Jews are hated through. Let me be careful. I don't want no Nick Cannon problems. But the Jews have an interesting history. They have been hated everywhere they go. The people, the white people they didn't embrace the Jews.
Right.
They've been, it wasn't just Germany. It was a lot of places. Russia too. There's a few places the Jews went. They had issues.
Yes.
And that's how we gonna be. That's how every country we go to, we're going to bring a particular style. We're going to bring a particular way of doing things.
Yeah.
We're going to be forced to have our own collective things, and being in other people's country, being able to be that successful.
Right.
They're gonna look at us a certain kind of way. We are foreign. We're foreign to the earth now, and now so we gotta. That don't mean don't go to Africa. It just means the goal got to be our own Israel or something like that.
Right.
But you can't. I don't think we can believe that we just gonna go in Africa and everybody. There are gonna be some few people that's gonna be cool, but all of us not gonna be cool. All of us not, And if we're going to get a collective label wherever we go, we already got one.
Right.
And with that, like I've been doing actual research on that. There is a decent amount of Black people that are living in Ghana, and they're starting businesses there. Right. And they have homes there, and they live there, and they feel welcome there. Right. Ghana is probably one of the few places that African Americans are, accepted and kind of not, judged for the culture that we bring over there and things like that. As you know, Black Americans and African Americans, we have a huge issue with each other.
Right.
I know where the issue came from.
There's tribalism already in Africa.
But I mean, every group of people got problems with every other group of people. That's Europeans not one collective mass. The Greeks and the Spanish and the British want to break away from everybody. The French think, French and Italians, they got their own thing going on. Like every group of people has issues, even within,
Right.
Like I don't want to point the finger at just Africans. Like every group of people has problems with every other group of people.
Mhm.
I might not want to call my own cousin next week. You know,
Right.
every group of people
For
has
real.
problems with other groups.
Right.
Fact.
Right. That's very true. And so, but you know, I would love, I almost feel like Pan Africanism is an African American fantasy, a Black American fantasy. And we don't have an African in our panel right now. I wish we did. I wish we did, because this would be a much more constructive conversation.
Very.
But it feels like it's a one-sided thing. It feels like we want to get to know who we are, and we're looking to them for answers. And they said, "Oh, we want nothing to do with you. You are not my sister." You know, that's what I literally got one time at a DC store. I said, "Hey, brother, how you doing today?" As I was about to purchase something, and he said, "You are not my sister." And I said, "I am not purchasing anything today."
Yeah, right.
And the
So
thing with that is, I don't understand. I don't understand why we all just fed into this white supremacy like that so deep with each other. Even here in America, amongst Black people as well. You're a Christian, I'm a Israelite. We don't like each other, and it's just like, what the hell, y'all? Can we just at least agree upon something to work together so that we could overcome this bigger issue that we have over here,
right,
and work together to defeat that, because we are not able to sit up here and talk about our differences because we're being killed at an alarming rate. So can we just put that aside
right,
and be able to accept each other's differences as Black people
Right.
in general?
right,
Yeah. Too many people bought into the American dream idea. Like
right,
from the time that you're required to go to school, I was just shucking corn. And I was just thinking about all the pictures they have of the Indians, as they call them, and pilgrims eating. And you think, oh, they like each other, they figure it out and everything like that. And then you grow up and you're like, damn, they lied. And
right,
everything,
It was
and
pretty
people
ugly.
just continue to
Yeah.
Pretty
believe
ugly.
in the lie when information that is documented, when you hear people's voices, because people still don't believe slavery was real. There are
right,
those out there,
Woo!
and it's like you bought into the shit, and you're so comfortable. Like, I understand ignorance is bliss. Like, some people don't even watch the news, but they know they support Trump because they know what he about. How can you know what he's about, but you don't watch what he says, but you know you want him?
right,
They don't want to let it go, and so many people, especially uh, black elite people who don't want anything to do with lower class Black people anymore because they've reached a pinnacle. They feel like, oh, I own my own, so I no longer fall into your problems, which is a conversation I really had last month. It's
right.
like nobody can oppress me, so I don't care. You
Okay,
know,
so did you guys see Jay-Z and Pharrell's new released song? It was called uh,
Entrepreneur.
Entrepreneurs. If that wasn't some respectability politics wrapped up in one, I almost felt like when Jay-Z made a swipe at Black Twitter, I almost felt like he was doing what he did in 444, um, you know, criticizing Black people. And it's kind of out of touch, because if he knew anything about Black Twitter can shut your whole shit
operation,
down.
the whole thing.
They can dox people. I've seen Black Twitter do some things. And so Black Twitter is almost like Black Anonymous, if you want to be honest. Um,
Yeah.
and so when I saw that, he made those comments, and he also made a comment about how people like need to start work hard to get to, the next level. And I was like, how do you say that when you know it takes capital to become successful? Like, it takes money to make money. Like, how dare you tell somebody who's an essential worker and getting paid less than people who are unemployed right now that if they work hard enough they'll get to your level, when you didn't even do that? You were a drug dealer, you were poisoning your own community, and complaining about losing bricks. Like, that's a whole nother ball game to somebody who has real bills to pay and pays taxes. So,
And ain't no telling how he was getting that work. Like, I mean, it's not like he just flipped his way from a couple of dubs all the way to, he pushing, weight
right,
up and down, weight up and down 95. You know what I'm saying?
right,
You might have got a plug yourself. You had a
right,
handout or a front here there. You worked in a particular neighborhood, so y'all had,
Mhm.
y'all had that work. You know what I'm saying?
right,
So yeah,
You got hooked up.
yeah,
right,
right. The hookup. Right. I think there's a danger when we have the collective conversation, and that's not. I don't want to. There's the conversation we had earlier about local community and the opposite of individual, and
right.
then there's this really grand collective conversation that we have to be really really careful about. There are 40 million of us in the United States of America.
Possibly
Like,
60.
that's a lot of people, man. I
Right,
have never counted to 1 million before,
right,
let alone 40 million. That's a very difficult number to imagine.
right,
That's a lot of different stories. It's a
right,
lot of different ideologies. And so when we start trying to piece together one tapestry for 40 million people, I think that becomes dangerous.
right,
Most of us have never organized 40 people. Most of us can't even organize our
Right.
family reunions properly, without somebody forgetting to bring the damn, leftover or
Exactly.
something, you know what I'm saying?
right,
Paper
Or didn't
plates,
bring the right
napkins.
liquor. Yeah, don't nobody eat that shit, man. Why would you bring that? Most of us can't do that, let alone 40 million people.
oh,
And that's the
right,
conversation that we're having about Pan-Africanism isn't just about the 1 million people who have been able to find a way to comfortably live there. We're talking about a mass exodus of, let's say, 20
Mhm.
million people moving
right,
to one area.
right,
Dog, that changes everything. It actually will change the ecosystem of
yep,
that particular environment.
right.
So
We
I
might
just
collapse their system, to be honest.
Yes.
Yeah, we would be a burden
Yes.
on them. You're absolutely right. And so, yeah, we veered all the way left, but we
yeah, we
good,
did.
good, we good.
Yeah.
So, Kenosha. So, the aftermath of Jacob Blake's um, assault and battery, assault with a deadly weapon, attempted murder, um, were protests. And after the protest, there are reports saying there were upwards of 37 fires, right? And including the Kenosha County Jail. So, you know, this is very reminiscent of the aftermath of the death of our brother, George Floyd. Um, and, you know, witnessing someone gets shot in his back 7 times in front of his kids. I mean, burn, baby, burn, right? Disco Inferno. Turn this mother out. Um, so I have no problems with that. I know several other people will say something different, but um, this is the only way we are listened to. This is the only way they want to negotiate. And so, um, a lot of white militias came from out of town and said, we need to protect Kenosha. It's not even your town, but we need to protect it. And so you had a mother take her 17-year-old out of state, and he ended up shooting multiple people. 2 ended up dying with an AR-15, which is illegal in the state of Wisconsin. It is an open carry state, but you have to be at least 18 years old. And his name is Kyle Rittenhouse, right? And so he has a record. Would you know that? Would you know that?
One of it fighting with the police.
Okay, so I'm gonna go right through it. Okay, so one of them was a misdemeanor um, operating a firearm while intoxicated in 2016, January 29, 2016.
Wow.
Another one was
What were you
disorderly
saying?
conduct, misdemeanor, January 29, 2016.
He was treated as an adult on these.
Charged this.
Keep
Okay,
going.
so okay, we'll look at these. Okay, so his
Thank
plea was not guilty. The disposition was charged dismissed, but read in. But read in. All right. The other one was guilty due to no contest plea for the disorderly conduct.
How old was he when this occurred?
He's 17 right now,
Wow.
but when
so,
this occurred,
so he's been charged as an adult before. He's considered, and he's an adult doing because of a past prior that they treated him as an adult. So after he's been treated as an adult.
yes, and failure to obey a traffic officer signal 2 years ago, August 9th, 2018. And he pled no contest, guilty due to no contest plea. So this is not his first rodeo, you guys. And
Obviously,
you know, this thug,
He's a criminal.
right?
That's
Right.
exactly what he is.
Right.
he's not
The,
he's
the
not
only
a
problem I
child.
have though is I don't want to take the spotlight off of Blake. Like
I
we
agree.
know his name, and it's not that the officer's name isn't out there, but we know his name, and we're saying it more than the officers that shot Jacob Blake, and we wouldn't even be talking about
Right.
this lane if it wasn't for the officer. Like that's
Right.
my only concern. But I do find this very interesting. I find this very interesting that this young hoodlum is able to do all of this. Should have
Yes.
locked him up a long time ago. That's what you would have did if he was black.
Right.
Yeah.
He should have been put under the cell. And
Yeah.
you know, it was what it looks like to me. It was an incident waiting to happen. You let these so-called children get out of line, and he's in a single mother household. See, I don't even want to go there with it.
Yeah, right. Because
I
every
don't want to go there
flag
with it.
they would have ran on a black male, that should be running on him. Every flag. Oh, because he was raised in a single by a black single mother. He was destined to be. We need more two-parent families.
No, we need it.
Every flag.
Right,
And I'm interested. How is he constantly getting these guns?
right,
His
honey.
mama.
His mom.
Obviously.
Mama that
mother.
babies him. And then she would say, I am a good mother. No, you're a bad mother because you allow your son to go out at night with a gun and you drove him there. I barely want to take my daughter up the street.
Apparently she must got the same ideology, though.
Oh, I'm sure she does. I am absolutely.
Oh, y'all didn't see the pictures?
I have.
You didn't see the pictures of her? Yeah, she got pictures. She dressed just like him. She got the army fatigues. She got the gun. She just like he as a shorty. I guess this is an example for him. So he's trying to make his mother proud by trying to do whatever it is she does professionally. And that's what it looks like. It's family tradition, I guess.
Right. Right. And so we have to keep in mind, though, that, you know, this she should be in jail as well. She's an
She should be in
accomplice.
jail. She's an accomplice.
Oh yeah.
You know, when you murder someone, you don't run away from the scene of the crime. And he should not get
He walked.
bail because he is a
He actually
suspect.
walked. He walked with a bunch of them driving past him. He ain't run. He ain't jog, sprint,
Right.
nothing. It's just
Right.
That
just
scene
tiptoe
of
right
him
past.
with
Right.
his
You
arms
know,
up was chilling.
this young boy, I'm sorry, thug.
No, he is not a young
He
boy. He is a
he
thug. He
Yeah.
is
he
17
was
years old.
planning on doing this when he went there.
Oh, I know it.
He was planning on this. One, he had no reason to be there. How are you protecting property that do not belong to you?
Right.
And what kind of mother will allow her child outside at the age of 17, 32 minutes away from Illinois
Right.
with a gun? And then if he was to encounter an armed black man and they would have shot it out and the boy would have died, then what?
But she call herself raising a young soldier. She thinks she raising some,
Right.
white supremacist patriot or whatever the hell. So her mindset is she's fighting for the cause. She thinks what's up, girl from Terminator? That's what she thinks she is.
Right.
Sarah Connor.
She
Sarah
thinks she's Sarah
Connor.
Connor.
Yeah.
Sarah
They
Connor.
fighting what do they call their battle?
Exactly. And so, you know, I'm looking for his name right now, the name of the officer. I think I saw it on social media today.
I did too, but I can't
it somewhere.
remember it.
I'm like, dang it. I know I saw it. They released that man's information with the
He
quickness.
shot like multiple people though, right? He shot like a
Yes,
dude
he
in the
did.
head.
Yeah.
He shot somebody in the head, shot one dude in the arm. He killed another dude, and all they were trying to do was hold him down. And then other people took some flesh wounds. I mean, like
I
he
do
committed
think the
so many crimes.
protest. I do think the protesters that are going out there need to be a little bit more prepared, especially some of the some of the ones that understand that they're going for heightened activity, euphemism. Those need to be a little bit more aware because y'all are kind of like you're kind of going into a soldiering environment. Like you kind of going to war, you kind of going out like a rider. So you need to be thinking like that, and you need to be a little bit more aware of the logistics. Who's out here because they had these types of people in Ferguson too. They'd be on the roofs and whatnot. So I think if you're going out at night and you're going for heightened activity, then you need to be in the mindset that somebody might be out here with a gun. Same way you thinking like if something ends up burned, I need to be watching for the police. You also need to be watching for other people who represent whatever ideologies that are out there, especially people tied to like the Antifa. Like y'all really need to be y'all need to be ready, man. Y'all need to be thinking like young bangers in LA. You need to have that particular kind of mindset.
Well, Wisconsin is an open carry state. If you are over 18 and you are protesting, you do not have to have a license or a permit to open carry in Wisconsin.
You don't need a license
or
a permit? Really?
Wow.
It is an open carry state.
This is why.
For an unconcealed weapon, you need one for a concealed weapon.
But as long as it's out, I don't need no paperwork.
That's right.
Really backwards, but that's cool. That's cool.
It makes it interesting. It makes it
very interesting.
So, and then let's talk about some of this right-wing approval. What have you guys seen? Have you guys been looking at some of these right-wingers and their responses to it? To Kyle
to this
Kyle Rittenhouse, yes.
A lot of people blaming the other people, the people who got shot, and I want to be careful because my statements are I support y'all. I support the heightened activity. But if you're going out there, there is a particular code and a particular set of protocols that you have to honor because you are on a particular kind of mission. And so you have to respect a certain set of rules and a certain type of engagement. And that's all I say. It's sad that a lesson had to get learned in this way, but I hope the lesson sinks in. But outside of that, everything that the right wingers are saying, as far as the protesters should have left them alone and all that kind of stuff. I think they were courageous, and they came to be courageous. They came to stand up, and they did just that. And sometimes when you stand up, somebody might have to fall.
Right. And we definitely that's why I said, we definitely have to keep in mind those things. And so where was, in fact, I'm kind of jumping a little bit ahead. Not fucking around too
Okay,
late.
okay. What are your thoughts? What you? Okay, so I'm
I
going to
follow.
assume from the question.
Okay.
I'm going to assume from the question that you think they should have been there.
Okay. All right. From what I heard with Infact, right? I follow their leader on Instagram. His name is
Grandmaster
J.
Ah.
He is quite eccentric, right? And has a lot of verbal bravado. So, I was interested when they did the 4th of July, we hear where y'all at, to the Klan at their meeting spot. Then when they organized to go to Kentucky for the protest for Breonna Taylor, I felt like it was a lot of posturing. And I felt like we still didn't get the answers, right? And so then when I heard of the brother getting shot in the back 7 times, Mr. Jacob Blake, all I could think of was these speeches he was giving in the public eye to a bunch of armed Black people dressed in black, saying that if anybody kills innocent Black people, whether they're white or whether they're Black, we pledge to fight for you, to be there. And then this happened. And Grandmaster J, from what I heard on his Instagram account, he said, no, why don't you other critics go? Yep. And I felt like this was his time to shine, not shine, but he does want to shine. But let's make that clear. He's quite grandiose. And so this was his time, his moment to shine, his time to shine. And he's still talking about disrupting the Kentucky Derby in Louisville. And not about going to Kenosha. So when I saw that, I kind of felt like, brother, how can we fund you and your movement so you can be a more reactive force, right? Because he also stated, I'm not getting paid for this, right? And I agree. You should be paid for your services. You should be compensated for your time and your effort. I completely agree with that sentiment. However, did you set up a GoFundMe? Did you tell us what your Venmo or your Cash App was? And I don't I don't want to make it seem like I think if he did, a lot of people would have donated, in my opinion. But he would also have gotten that criticism for, oh, you're just after the money. But we don't say that to Jesse Jackson and his Rainbow Coalition. We don't say that to Al Sharpton
We
and his
did.
thing.
We
Yeah, I
did.
do. I
And,
do.
Do
I
okay,
can.
all
and
right.
they get it pretty
Yeah.
they get it pretty bad.
Yeah.
Okay, all
I
I
right.
think
don't think you can
the
be
newer
I don't think you
generation
can be
they
in the
get it pretty
limelight
bad.
like
Oh,
that and
trust
not
them.
get any form of criticism or heavy amount of criticism. That's what any form of success comes with. Um, I want you to finish though. I want you to finish. I
I
want you to
would
finish.
like to have seen, because I know that it takes a lot to organize that and have armed Black people show up and do things. However, I don't feel like he understood the gravity of what he was saying and doing. I think this is how I approach a lot of things. My daughter, she'll tell me, I'll tell her, go clean your room. And she'll say, I cleaned my room yesterday. And you know what I tell her? You know what I tell her? I say, cleaning is not an event, it's a habit. And so that's how I view how InFact should be. It should not be an event, it should be a habit. And so, um, you know, we need InFact or something similar as a first responder type of entity, to protect those who are trying to peacefully protest and to keep a lookout for these other militias, because when InFact shows up, the other militias are around the corner, around the block, watching away, pissed off somewhere that they can't get 60,000 people in one spot. That's what happens. Those white militias didn't come out in huge numbers to Kenosha. They didn't have 60,000 guns on the spot. And so that's what I was saying. I felt like he didn't organize, and that was my main criticism of InFact. I said, you guys need to train together and you need to organize. I didn't feel like that. And we have to learn our lesson as Black people as having a one leader, one man show. We have to learn our lesson from that. Every time that happens, what happens? You cut off the head, it kills the whole snake.
Exactly.
So, yeah, that's what I wanted to point out. Where was InFact? Because y'all made that pledge out loud, and the world saw you, and you weren't there. So yes, I felt like they should have been there from what he was saying, not from what I was saying, from what he said.
Making it clear.
I was thinking that same thing though. Like I thought about it yesterday, and I was like, "Where was these guys?" Because they was like everywhere. 4th of July, you could not hear about them.
Right.
I mean, now like more things are taking place where you would really think they'd benefit to be there, like they should be there. But I guess things cost money. Like I mean, I don't know. I don't know
I
why.
think that's my only thing. Like I don't know what their I don't know what they war chest look like. I don't really
Right.
know what their I don't know what their logistics are. I don't know how fast they can mobilize. We really have only seen them in these two instances. I'm still
Yeah.
interested. Yeah, your man do a lot of barking. So
Right.
I'm interested in how hard he can bite. I want to see,
Yeah.
what is the heart of the dog in this fight. I want to see him. But right now, I want to allow him the opportunity to do this because I don't know what they really got going on. All I'm doing is I saw the 2 times. I see the
Mm-hmm.
guns. I see that you may need a little training because the incident that happened with what's the young thug name? Don't worry about, y'all know what I'm talking
Kyle.
about.
Oh,
The
Kyle.
same
Kyle.
thing that could have happened in his situation where you let it go off.
Mhm.
and you didn't really have any training for real. You let it
Right.
go off, and that's what really happened.
Right.
In the same situation, it happens in the military all the time. They don't talk about it, but it happens in the military all the time in boot camp. People get hit, people get shot.
Yeah.
It happens. You got guns,
Yeah.
people gonna end up getting shot.
Mhm.
Rounds do go off.
Right.
And so if they do show up, I would like it to be more than just I would like it to be more than just a show. I like it to be more than just a parade of arms. And
Right.
so I don't expect them to announce their arrival.
Right.
When brothers in these neighborhoods end up shooting at each other or whatnot, they don't send me an email first. You know what I'm saying? When I heard guns down the street, they don't send me an email. They don't say, "Hey man, make sure your son and your wife okay, dog. It's gonna happen." They don't say. I don't get a text. You know how you get a boop on your phone when the police want you to look for a car or something? The thugs,
And
I don't
brother,
call them thugs, but the young brothers in my neighborhood, when they finish start shooting at each other, they don't send me no text.
Yes.
And
Right.
I don't expect in fact to do it either. Yes, I'm interested in them. I'm watching. This would probably be a good time to show up with
yes.
your militia.
Right.
But if you don't, that's what's up too. Now, if you never show up again, and the next time you show up, I I don't think the threat is as big as it is here. Then I'm going to begin to have an evaluation of you. I'm not going to judge you because I ain't going to Kenosha either.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Just
You're
being
right.
honest.
Right.
Fact.
But I am going to evaluate you based on who if I got some funds to donate them to spread around, you
Right.
might not get the Santa Claus bonus because I'm gonna be like, nah, y'all only move in this way. I want to help the brothers that's moving a particular kind of way.
Right.
But I do want to give them an opportunity to to do what because I absolutely understand. Tariq Nasheed should have never said what he said.
I
You know what
agree.
I'm saying? You can't call people these names and
Right.
don't have documentation. That's
Right.
just not how that works.
Yes.
And so I can understand. Well, since everybody got so much to say about me and my organization, man, why don't y'all show up? Why don't y'all go do why don't y'all go do one time what we've done twice, and then we can have the conversation. And I don't want to defend nobody, but
Yeah.
I do understand.
I get
Like
the
I'm
sentiment.
waiting. I'm waiting.
I know. I get the sentiment too. But have you guys seen the documents on Breonna? Oh, we're kind of skipping ahead. That's okay. Breonna Taylor recently had some documents released by Brandon Tatum. Have you seen that?
I
I
have
I
not.
did read the whole.
I've heard. I haven't seen it. I haven't actually seen it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Okay.
I read the whole report. It was a bunch of screenshots, a bunch
Right.
of typed up dialogue, and in one of the dialogue, he's trying to say that the dude that name was on the warrant called her. They were on the phone, and he said, "I need to get some rest at your house." Ain't no drug dealer saying they gonna get some rest at your house. They going to sleep. Okay, you try. They try. You can tell it was fabricated. Like they said, she had two different cars, but we know she did not. Both registered to her. It was a mess. And then Topher, never mind. It was terrible.
Topher, never mind. Never mind. We all know how that goes.
You know, he takes any right wing source and runs with it until the wheels fall off.
See, and
So
that's the thing.
It's
I
like
don't
now
know.
she's cheating on her boyfriend. That's what the document is saying. Basically,
Yeah,
she's
that's
in a
that's what
relationship
it.
with the dude still, and she's cheating on her man. The amounts of money that she was supposed to be holding, the baby mother, like the whole, he got names in there, and it's
right.
like, do you know that these people are involved in anything? These people can be looked up on Facebook now, harassed because you put their name in a report because they know somebody.
My thing is, just because somebody was living that type of lifestyle, do they have to die? Like, does this have to justify their death? Like, what? Like,
Right.
like,
Right.
I don't
Right.
get it.
Right.
I don't get
This
it.
has absolutely nothing to do with you killing her. Nothing.
Right.
I don't care.
Exactly.
I don't care. I don't care if she did cheat on him. I don't care. That ain't why you killed her.
So
Let's deal with the murder. Let's deal with the
I
murder
talked
here,
to
and let's leave
someone.
all the other stuff alone.
Well, I
Exactly.
talked to someone who is part of, DEA, and they said that it is typical for them to shoot like that if they're shot at, right? And so basically they're trying to justify what the officers did. But they said, if we're doing a raid and you shoot at us, we're assuming that you're shooting to, retaliate against the raid. And it's like, well, if you didn't even announce yourself and you didn't even have visible badges, a shot's gonna ring off. So yeah, that whole situation. That's why I said I did that video. You know, Black hoes matter. Black pimps matter. Black hustlers matter. Black
Yes.
drug dealers matter. Black drug
All
addicts
of them.
matter. Black trans people matter. Black whatever you have in your mind against black people and the crap that they do, or whatever stereotype that you think is just utterly despicable, they matter too. Just like
Exactly.
in every family, they got outlaws. In every family, if your family member was an outlaw, you wouldn't say they got what they deserved. You would feel sad and you would cry about it, and you'd go to the funeral and pay your respect.
Oh, but
So
this country loves outlaws as long as they're not black. We love Jesse James and
Right.
Calamity
right.
For
Jane.
real.
Wild Bill Hickok. We
I
love
mean,
them.
even George Washington is an outlaw. They were fighting against the state that they were brought over to serve.
Right.
They were illegal. Revolution is an illegal act.
Definitely.
Right.
Yeah. And so, well, especially the black outlaws, the whole civil rights movement is filled with black outlaws. So, we definitely have to keep in mind, though, that anytime we make public statements and we're saying this is a black only group, we must be able to stay true to our word, because I don't, you know what? The thing is this, like, you didn't show up when you were absolutely needed, and now people are going to talk more. So I get what he was saying, but is that strategically sound? Because you made this declaration in public, this pledge in public, that you're not fucking around, and now you're talking about disrupting the Kentucky Derby. That's not where the action is. I don't know. Maybe I should.
But do they have the resources to mobilize from where they're at all the way up to Wisconsin, right?
They're in Georgia, and if they need the money, just start a GoFundMe, honey. I'm donating right away.
Do they have it
I'm
right now though? Like, do they have,
It should have been done already.
Mm-hmm.
It
I
should have been
agree with
done
that. It
already.
should have been
It
done
should have been
already.
done. Okay.
And I
So,
believe
so what I'm
what they
getting
should
is
have been
that what
doing.
y'all think they like just for show, like in some way. I mean, I'm a ass. Like,
I don't think he's for show. I just think he's probably hurt by, feeling salty about what people were saying about him. Like, I forgot the guy's name already. That,
Grandmaster J.
no, the other one that was saying that
Tyreek
they're
Nasheed.
phony, that they false, and
Tyreek Nasheed?
Tariq,
yeah.
yeah.
So I think that he feeling some type of way about that, and he's just kind of like pumping his brakes and like, fine, if y'all don't want me around, this how y'all feel about my organization, I don't care. But I do think that they should have been started a GoFundMe page and also been thinking about expanding in different cities as well with people that already live within those cities, those major cities. Like come here to Chicago, start a group. Come, any other city and start a small group there and expand and market amongst Black people. So that's the thing. They have to think about expanding so that when something goes down in that state, there's people there already present.
Right. That's true.
So they
But
need to think about doing that.
I mean, creating chapters
agree.
that requires organization.
Yeah.
So they bit off more than they can chew. Really, they not really
Yes.
actually prepared
I
to
don't know
take
if they
on
bit off
the
more than
comic.
they can chew. I think that our expectations, I think that some expectations might be higher than what they thought that they were signing up for.
Okay.
And I think they have, I think they've done what they've done. They're a militia.
Right.
Most militias, even Antifa move where they live. You know what I'm saying? And Antifa
Right.
ain't just, when Antifa show up, that's like Tovon is saying, this is more of a local. This is a local branch of this particular umbrella. Same thing with a nine. These be local
Right.
representatives of this umbrella idea
Right.
organization, loosely. Um, like I said, I just don't know how much I'm expecting them to move. I don't know, like an actual military, like the National Guard don't move that damn fast. I'm just not. I'm just, if they were, if Jay said, look, man, we've been planning this right here last week. This happened such and such a time. We haven't been able to move on it. I'm gonna be like, yeah, I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
This shocked all of us. The NBA players with way more money than Jay
Right.
haven't been able to do much either
Right.
on the
Right.
ground
Okay.
locally. And they
Right.
got way more individually. Most of them got way more resources than I believe Jay has.
And I
Jay do
think
a lot of flexing, but he ain't flexed hard enough to make me believe that he got the same amount of power as a LeBron or even.
and I think this is when like a conversation comes into play. If you're gonna be like a Black militia, you have to be talking to people that do have that money so that you can get those funds
Yeah.
rolling in. You
I
have
think
to network like
the problem that
hell.
Jay has is he do run his mouth. He do a lot of barking, man. You do a lot of promoting, man,
Right.
and that creates this image in people's mind of this expectation.
Right.
Whether the expectation is on or if it's overly ambitious, I do feel like I get it. I understand. Now you do a lot of barking, man. You making a lot of you cashing checks as soon as you see them, and maybe you need to hold fast. Maybe you need not assign yourself to the mission of all Black people so loudly and just do what you do, and
Right.
we'll see
Right.
you, and we'll see what you're doing. Because all that
Move in silent
barking,
until you have the funds, and then start doing the barking.
I don't know if I think they need to have a little bit more time under their belt, man, before they do any of their barking.
Right.
We asking him to take. He has made some statements. You talk once again, 40 million. Talking about a nation. United States of America land wise is one of the biggest. It's pretty big, man. United States
Yeah.
land wise is pretty big. We're talking about millions. We're talking about volume.
Yeah.
Volume.
350
And
million.
if you're talking about dealing, trying to take on all the problems, you need to be thinking a little bit. You need to be thinking at a much greater scale than what you're thinking at,
Yeah.
and some of that's just not possible.
Right.
Locally, y'all can get a lot of stuff off. You got Louisiana, obviously, you got Louisville, and you got Atlanta. Y'all got something locked there. Y'all can pop up when y'all need to. You don't got the entire nation, so you need not talk like you got the entire nation.
Right.
Mhm.
I
It's the
agree.
reason why Crips and Bloods represent by the block and by the set and by the zone and not by entire states and nations.
Right. Exactly. And speaking of the celebrities and sports figures, how woke can you be in 2020? You know, um, it's it's right. So I want somebody else to say something. I don't want to
Are
be
you
the
talking
one to say
about
it.
Kyrie Irving?
I don't want to be
About
the one to say it.
Go ahead.
about what?
About the sports strikes and the celebrities supporting it. What do you
Me
guys?
and my wife were of the mind that if they were going to do all of this, they should have just not showed up at all. And we agreed with
Facts.
Kyrie Irving. Like if you were going to do anything, the thing to do was not show up at all. Just leave it alone. If you're going to protest, you should have protest. No anything. No playoffs. We'll see you next season or November, whatever. We'll see you when we see you, and that should have been the done deal. Now it looks like what it looked like. It looked like marketing, catering, trying to solidify the youth base. It looks like everything that we've been saying about Kaepernick and Nike, everything that we've been saying about different activists, the Sean Kings, the D Rays, yada 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 yada. Everything that we've been saying critical about them, this with the NBA, the entire NBA looks like y'all not really serious.
Pandering,
It looks like this is just marketing, with the shirts and all of that. It doesn't look serious.
right? And even so, I like LeBron, right? I want to start off with that.
Okay.
I like LeBron.
We're about to say something un-LeBron likable.
I want to hear it.
Well,
Let's go.
When he pretended to be reading them autobiography,
Malcolm X. Nigga, quit faking. Your old ass reading autobiography of Malcolm X.
you
That's a junior high book. No
right,
disrespect, Alex
right,
Haley. Malcolm X. Come on, man. In the black community, man, if you ain't read that by, junior high, man. Come
right,
on, man.
right. I was like, I think I read that the first time in the fifth grade. So I'm sorry, I didn't. So then after, and then his text goes viral. Fuck that shit. We want change. So eloquently said, and as a
And off
call to
character.
action. Yes, yes, it was. I think it was. It wasn't even after Jacob Blake being shot. I think it was right after the incident with the shooter, Kyle
Kyle.
Rittenhouse, the thug
Young Kyle.
Kyle.
with the rap sheet.
Yeah.
Um,
It's Kyle's and Karen's, right?
yeah,
Kyle's and Karen's.
Killer Kyle.
Killer Kyle, just
I'm
this
gonna start calling
terrible.
people that look Kyle. Don't you get on here starting that shit
Look
today.
here, Kyle.
And I think 2020 is like, I think I saw Tariq Nasheed talk about this, where it is revolutionary chic. The 70s, there was a period in which, after the Panthers were
Tyreek got a lot of room to speak, but finish what you were saying.
but there is it's a real thing when the Black Panthers, towards the tail end of the Black Panthers, and they were being associated with bigger celebrities and getting things of like that nature done. It was now socially acceptable to be revolutionary. right? And it kind of made it to where it could be co-opted, and it was socially acceptable to say, the government is doing bad and it's terrible. And so now we have a movement, right? Black Lives Matter is majority, not Black, right? And so even the victims that Kyle shot weren't
Killer
Black.
Cow.
Terrible Kyle, the thug, that
Killer cat.
absolute miscreant, the devil's child, just raised by a single white mother. Where's the dad?
Where's the father?
Well, if his dad would have just stayed in a household
He
and
would
his
have
mom
just been
wasn't on
around.
welfare,
Right,
Right. And she should have waited until married, absolutely. Because everyone who waits for marriage has a child in wedlock. So yeah, terrible. Just a statistic waiting to happen, Kyle.
Just a
And so even those people he shot were white, right? And so we look at this, and this was one of Grandmaster Jay's points, was the victims that he shot weren't white, weren't Black. And he said he was pledging to protect Black people. But this is hey, exactly, white on white crime.
I don't. I understand that sentiment. I wish he would not have said that. Like,
Yeah.
if you're not gonna show up, just don't show up later. Like, don't.
Question: Where's All Lives Matter though?
They're celebrating Kyle, the thug Kyle. They're celebrating him.
They champion.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
They said this is
He that
impact.
golden child right now.
Right. They don't care about all lives. They don't care.
There is something that I've been saying. Like, I wanted to mention this earlier, but I think I just let the conversation go. This is very different than what I've seen. This is very different than what Black Lives Matter looked like in Ferguson, and even that was an outgrowth of 50 million other organizations that was down there,
Right.
and for various different reasons. There was a specific group of activists, organizers that needed Black Lives Matter. They needed the LGBT in that particular space. As white journalists and academics began to try to figure out how to talk about it, they needed a label, and Black Lives Matter had got loud enough to serve as a label, and then everybody kind of grabbed hold of it. And now and then we had the Trump era. Like, it's been really quiet for a while, actually. Everybody been doing the Wakanda Disney shit and all this other stuff. And then we got this year. Then 2020 occurs, and Aubrey, Brianna, George, Jacob, all of these murders happen in instances kind of happen around the same time. But on the ground, it has not looked like what it looked like in Baltimore.
Right.
And the conversation has been very, very different. Please believe. And I love Baltimore. I love my neighbors. And y'all some very thorough individuals. But y'all ain't burning no police stations and living. It's not finna happen.
Right.
So
No.
a lot of what's been allowed to occur now could have never happened. They gave you a police. You'll get a squad car. We used to talk about this. What we used to call them, the empty squad car, the vacant squad car during the protests. And everybody runs to throw a brick and burns and spray paint. Like, when the hell in your life have you ever seen an empty squad car? Like, they report everything about a squad car. It's like, I don't know what all y'all jobs are, but it's like hazmat. It's something that you got to document everything. Like when we drove trucks, like you got to jot down everything, how much gas, how much mileage, everything. That's how they got to
A
treat
log
that
sheet.
squad car.
A log
Yeah,
sheet.
right,
Yeah.
right. And you just got squad cars, unmarked squad. I mean, a vacant squad car
Right.
during a protest. And that's how I feel about these police stations and a lot of the stuff that's being allowed to a lot of the more elevated, heated activity. Some of it seems like it's being allowed because the type of people that are doing it. When it
Right.
was black people who looked like, Nipsey Hussle or something, then they had a limit on what could be done. Now that they look more like Eminem, things have kind of changed. And
Right.
and and I do think that I do treat this a lot differently than I treated things before. My response to him killing some black protesters might have actually been different. And I do think that the response of the NBA does come like after the shooting, and so it does feel like, are y'all just protecting the white kids, or what's going on here?
Right.
Mhm.
Right. Exactly. And
These NBA players, black people working in general, are too afraid of losing what they just got, and think that they're not allowed to shit things up because we, like you said, Queen Tovon, we have to tread on the line. And it's like when you realize how much stock you own in their companies and you walk away from that, like I've left a job where they had to hire 4 people to replace me,
right.
and they
Same
lost
here.
and they
Same
lost
here.
half their business, and people were
Right.
calling me asking me, why did you leave?
Right.
And I was not afraid to. We have to stop
It's
being afraid of these
exactly.
people because of titles. It's just a title, because when they leave, you can't tell what title they have. So
You
when
know
I'm
they
able to
have
walk
they have
away,
enough money collectively to start their own leagues.
right?
But this is not the conversation that they're willing to have.
Yeah.
It takes a lot more work. Um,
I just hate that it took this for them to realize that. Like, I go back to the last act. I don't know if y'all seen that documentary where Scottie Pippen was talking about the bad deal he had. It was like 21
Yeah.
million for 7 years or
Right.
some craziness, and he had too many people to take care of, so he didn't want to shake it up. No, you own all of that, but they
right.
don't believe that because of the little bit. It's like, oh, I'm just doing good. I don't want to mess it up. No, you can mess it up in the worst way if you want to, but you can get what you want too.
But it would take
I almost
collectivism to do that. It would
I
take
think
collectivism.
I almost think the NBA allows their players a lot more leniency. Like,
Right.
my concern with what they did do was that y'all job let y'all do that, man. Like you're really not supposed to protest on the job. Like, you protest outside the job. You're supposed to create like a picket line or something like that. Y'all in the locker room. No,
Right.
nobody's knocking on that locker room door to try to. They're allowing that. Y'all have a space for that. Your CEO allows you to do these kind of things.
Right.
And I when what Colin Kaepernick was doing was a little bit there. While I feel the way I feel about it, I do feel like he did put something on the line. It was more skin in the game, and I
Right.
feel like he had a lot more to lose with the NFL
Definitely.
than these players, especially during COVID and with everything going on. It's like, y'all come on wearing shirts that say Black Lives Matter, and they didn't put it all on the court. And you got Meek Mill representing Philly prison reform,
Right.
without ever mentioning Move or Mumia. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like they invite this. They want this. This is great media attention. It makes them look great. And that y'all in y'all it didn't last even a week, not even really 24 hours. It didn't even last 24 hours, didn't even last a day, let
Right.
alone a week. You know what I'm saying? That's what make me feel like, y'all not even really serious. Y'all didn't try anything. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right. And then I
It's
think
just
with
to get us to calm down just a little bit.
right, it's to be like, oh my gosh, celebrities. And I actually saw a couple celebrities post and today, and One of them in particular is a controversial female rapper who's always getting into beefs with people. And I told her, she said something about like looting doesn't do anything because they can catch you. Who? Do I really want to say her name?
Go
Trina,
for it.
I know who you're talking about.
Trina?
No.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's
A
not
Boots.
Trina.
Azalea
Who?
Banks. It's
Oh.
Azalea Banks.
Trina
So,
said
My
that
thing
too. She
is,
got chewed out for saying something like that. Trina
everybody
and
was talking
talks
so
about
about
that.
I don't have a
Trina.
problem with people expressing their opinion. I
I
have
don't.
differing opinions
You
on
can, but like
sides of this
I,
conversation. Like
I
I don't I don't want to attack people for having like once again, I'm not going to Kenosha. I'm not this week, not next week. I'm not going. I'm not showing up. I'm
but
not. I have my opinions about things, and I'll share my opinions. And on this platform, thank you for having me. And on mine,
right,
I want people to feel free to have these discussions. I'm glad they're talking about it. I don't have to agree with you.
right,
I don't have to agree with
Right.
you. And I don't I don't want to shut people up. I don't want I don't agree with it. No, I don't agree with it. I think if they weren't looting, if they weren't burning buildings, we wouldn't be talking about it.
right, right.
But I want somebody to be able to voice their opinion so
Okay,
then I can give my answer.
okay.
My
So
Right.
thing
my
is about
answer
the
to her
oh, go ahead.
was my answer to her was it's easy to judge. First of all, she said she understands some looting for necessities, but not for higher end stuff. And I said, you loot the higher end stuff so you can get more money, so you can get more necessities. Duh, that's the point of doing that. You're so out of touch with the people. And she's talking about technology, facial recognition stuff. And I'm like, you wear a mask, you leave your phone at home. What the hell are you talking about? That solves all of that. But my point was it's easy to judge boots on the ground when you're in your ivory tower, right? Because I've been to multiple protests in my area and in DC. We got cornered, pepper sprayed, feds came by, took pictures of our cars, like harassed people picking up protesters, kicked around our supplies. I brought like 900 bottles of water, and half of it got punctured by the police. So, when people are making these like having these conversations without really putting in the work, because there's people who have put in the work, and who, like, my babysitter was arrested, you know what I mean, and she said, no, don't bail me out, just, they're gonna let me out in a couple days, you know she was a rider, she's like, save your little pennies, let me ride this out. And so that's the type of experience I've had, after the George Floyd, protests that were springing off of that. And so for somebody who hasn't really been boots to the ground to say anything about it, like, to me, it's
It's
like,
Azalea Banks though, man. She do more
Right.
tweeting than she do singing. I mean,
right,
like her entire
right,
career has been.
I'm mad with Boots.
I do want to say this. I the whole situation with her and RZA and the situation at the party and everything, like I really stood by her, but
right.
I do get it.
Attack
She
by
has
question.
built a career
Yeah.
kind of off poking people, and she does the whole social media for resonance and attention and relevance thing, and I'm cool with that. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm like if this is how you get your attention, this is how you pay your bills, da um but yeah,
But she
yeah.
didn't respond back to when I said it's easy to judge boots on the ground from your ivory tower. She didn't say nothing after that.
But
So,
when people talk about looting and saying that it doesn't do anything, it doesn't work, and this and that, my thing is looting has worked out very fine for white people. It's just
right,
that when black people or any other race start to loot, it's an issue. Looting has gotten white people so far. so far. They built a whole nation off of looting. And they see us doing it and like, oh, wait a minute, this is what we did in the start of America when we started our nation. If they continue to go down this route that we did centuries ago to build this lovely nation that we have here, they might just take the shit.
Let's stop them now.
Exactly. And it's like people give
I'm
looting
not mad at them.
such a terrible name, but don't realize that this country was built on just that. Like, we are the descendants of people that was stolen.
Right.
And we go to museums and see artifacts that was stolen.
Right.
Stolen. America stole almost every damn thing that America has. I'm not going to say we, but America has stolen everything that it has.
True.
Can somebody explain to me how billionaires got $637 billion richer during just the coronavirus pandemic? Because if that ain't looting, I don't know what the hell is. They tripping over regular people getting $600 extra
Come on
per
now.
week on unemployment. Yet all of these different types of billionaires, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, so many people have Jeff Bezos saw his wealth rise by 48 billion B $48 billion since the COVID-19. The conferencing platform Zoom grew its nest egg by over $2.5 billion. Well, that's Zoom. Microsoft, Steve Ballmer, net increase 15.7 billion dollars. And Elon Musk increased $17.2 billion. None of these people are your friends, are our friends. And they tripping over 600 extra dollars per week for unemployment for people who can't find work, can't get work because we're supposed to be locked down until we got it contained. This is the crux of America. And so when we're talking about simple, stores that are insured getting burned down, or when we talk about affecting economies, that's the only way anybody will listen, because we live in a capitalistic society where profit reigns. And so if we fuck up their profit, then everything else will, come to a halt. But if we don't do anything at all, then it's going to continue. So I think we all got comfortable after the George Floyd protest that happened for a good, 3-4 weeks afterward, constantly every day in all the major cities and hot spots. And it was quiet, it was calm. And then now we got to react to another black man getting shot in front of his children. And so we have to keep in mind that even though we see, low class people doing something awful to their own communities and ruining economies, we're not taking our eye off of the real robber baron.
I agree. I think that's what Trump was in there for, to just help companies. He's not here to help us. He's here to help companies. That's why they gave him a shot. He's doing exactly that too, and it's working out pretty well for him. And we looking at the aftermath, and then they trying to get him to stay in there so they can constantly keep this train going. They don't want Biden in there. I don't know Biden's idea or whatever. I can't speak for the other guys. I don't know, but I do know we getting screwed because he's working America like a business, which it already is. But now it's easier. because they want that.
Biden has already promised the billionaires that he's not going to touch their money. His words, his actual words. I am not going to touch your
Wow.
money. He's already promised the billionaires, whatever we do, we're not going to raise your taxes. Whatever promises I make to whoever I got to make promises to in order to get elected, I'm not going to mess with your money. I'm not like my concern with Kamala Harris is her record on prosecution. Regardless, and it wasn't that long ago. We're talking about like what 2000 between 2011 2014. This wasn't that long ago that she was implementing all of these it's kind of extremely draconian measures and a lot of oversight. Not that a person can't change, but I just question the motivations. I question the
I
motivation.
feel that. I feel that. I get that too, because I think that's a concern for a lot of people. It scares everybody. We don't know the outcome, but politicians are based on trying to be tough, especially when it comes like you said earlier, with the law. They're trying to be tough. So who else is there to pick other than her that would be tough? Who else?
Exactly.
Like I don't know anybody else that'll be just as
Well,
tough.
Pete Buttigieg, the black people in Pete Buttigieg's town doesn't like him, so maybe I don't know. I don't know if you've looked into the other candidates. A lot of them don't have good rapport with the black people in their communities.
I think if you were going to do something, you would have had to do something extremely fresh. Even Bernie Sanders is a concern to me. Bernie Sanders type of person. He talk real loud for a little minute, and if he don't win, he don't figure out other ways to keep fighting. He just capitulates. You know what I'm saying? He gets punched in the face and then go kisses the person just punched him in the face. He never puts up a fight afterward. He didn't go independent either time he lost. He allowed Hillary Clinton to just rim shot him. You know what I'm saying? So I don't like him either. And not just over that. His record shows that he'll say XYZ, but when it come time to vote, he votes just in line with everybody else. He hasn't been independent in his voting record. So if you were going to do something, I think you should have did somebody like Yang. Give somebody who, give somebody fresh time to get in there. Yeah, they're gonna manipulate him. He's got to fall in line, but at least he got time.
Right.
You got to give him some time to do all of these things. But they didn't.
You
And
like
so
that
now
Asian guy? You was liking the Asian guy?
I don't
He
want
was
to use the word like. I want to be careful about that.
He would be a good choice then, right? He would be a good choice for you.
I think he would have been a better choice than Biden. I think I would have rather, if I have to give up a vote, if I have to interrupt my day to give somebody a job, I would have rather it been Yang than Biden or maybe I just didn't like Booker's reaction. I don't like Booker's relationship to the Clintons.
Right.
Just like I don't like Biden's relationship to Bloomberg or Kamala's relationship to Bloomberg.
Right.
Okay.
I'm cool with Yang because his connections are more
big tech
in the Asian tech space. Yeah.
What about Williamson, Michelle Williamson? Nobody ever looked at her.
She's interesting. I thought she was a little airy. She kind of creeped me out a little bit.
Yeah,
but you're right.
Just a little bit.
Right. But you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. She was another one that I felt like she obviously is not cool with nobody else on this stage.
Of course.
And I think these are the type of people that's what they got out of Trump.
Right.
They got somebody who wasn't a Republican. He's donated. Trump's giving everybody money.
Yeah.
Everybody, Democrat, Republican, he didn't care. You need a million, you need a million. He was just breaking everybody off.
Yeah.
And that's why he's where he's at now.
Mm.
And so like even with Andrew Yang, I felt like he was more futuristic and realistic, right? You guys, I don't know if you guys know, but I remember when I first saw Andrew Yang as a good night, Lance. Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate your feedback. Um, and
Thank you.
so you know, when I saw Yang at first, he was very future leaning because he said he's in tech. And so he knows that the future means a lot of human jobs will be displaced. And so he was looking at, because a lot of human jobs will be displaced, we're going to give you guys an automatic stipend every month and, you know, um,
And
reduce.
even gave some people some money.
Right, right. And so you know the thing is this, like when we're talking realistically, we're now finding out through COVID what Yang was already warning against,
Right.
that we don't have to be in a physical building to get things done, that we don't have to be in each other's presence to be able to accomplish what you do in the office or in the school or a lot of these places. And so when he saw that and I saw that, I was like, oh, he's thinking about the future. I would prefer Yang as well. That's what I was thinking.
Didn't he
So
kind of base his whole thing off of analytics though, which is
yeah,
same like working in a factory? Like that's kind of scary though,
I mean, but that's
because
how
now
that's a realistic
you
approach.
preferring a number over the people and emotion. So sometimes that can be a major factor when you're talking about a large group of people.
So,
And
how
I
many
thought
of
it
us?
was
How
scary,
many
but
of
I
us use the
still
kiosk at Walmart? How many of us use the kiosk at Walmart? Right,
mm,
right,
I don't think Walmart.
right. How many of us, if it was between waiting in line for a cashier or being at a kiosk, we go to the kiosk,
Yeah, because I don't want
It
to.
right?
depends on how I'm feeling.
Okay.
right, right.
How many of us, pre-COVID would rather go to the ATM than to go inside the bank? Right? So
Yeah, yeah,
this is
That depends.
small examples
Yeah,
of,
right.
you know, ways that the industries in technology have changed the way that we do commerce, that we do business, that we consume. And so that's the future. It's not unusual to see a kiosk in the store.
Yeah.
It's not unusual to see, you know,
You're definitely
No,
being
no,
replaced.
I like, and I get what what Black Samurai is saying. I just, I might not like it, and that's why I say that I might not like it, but I do absolutely understand that pre-COVID we all kind of saw COVID occurring. 41 million jobs evaporated that fast. It didn't
right,
take a lot, man. It
right,
didn't take a
yeah.
lot. The reason why those particular it everybody's got to be locked up in their house for 3 months. I think we all knew what companies was about to get rich. We
right,
all knew
Yeah,
Netflix was finna flip. We
right.
all knew
yeah,
Amazon was finna make a buck. You know, we
Yeah,
all now Tesla was kind of surprised. I didn't think everybody was gonna put their money on
yeah.
Tesla. That was kind of
I didn't see
surprising.
that.
But he got lucky. Zoom. I don't think everybody would have saw Zoom, but it makes perfect sense now
right.
in hindsight. I don't. It doesn't mean I support any of it. I wish everybody had their jobs. I'm not happy with where we're going. It does seem like the rich are only going to get richer. It's really
Yeah,
hard to. It's made things even more harder for me. But if I was to go with somebody, I would rather go with the guy that already predicted it and said, "Hey, look, man, here's the safety net. You know, this,
That's what I was saying.
we finna rob y'all.
Right.
I'm gonna give you a little bit of your money back.
Yes, right.
It's like in a dice game. I'm gonna take all your money, but
mhm,
here. I'm gonna give you a little bit of your money back so you don't feel like, and I would rather that than Biden because I just don't trust Biden. I don't trust Bloomberg. And Kamala Harris just hasn't shown me enough.
Right.
Her record is just like, and she doesn't seem to be in control of the narrative, man. She is the
Can we
most
talk about her
flip-flopping.
birth certificate? Are we not allowed to do
I
that?
haven't seen it yet. I haven't even.
I just seen something
Am I
about
the only
that.
one who hasn't seen it?
I haven't seen it either.
Hold on.
Okay, I feel better now.
You know what?
I haven't seen it. I don't.
I
don't
heard
even
about it. I
see
haven't seen it.
news on her at all.
What is okay? So, because birth certificates are actual document. You need your birth certificate to do a lot of things. You need your birth certificate to get a passport, to get a social security number.
She building her case, don't she?
Right? She at her.
Right.
And so when I look at it, man. So this is the county of Alameda, right? Right here. Can we see? No, we can't see. We're gonna make me a little bit bigger. We'll try that. There we go. Can you guys read it?
A little.
Okay.
Barely.
Let's zoom in.
Who is this posting this?
This is Kamala. Oh, this is the Orange County Register. This is the Orange County Register right here. Orange County Register.
Oh, that's interesting.
And oh, snickety yeah. Y'all better let me look at it. And okay, we're gonna have to go back a little bit. There we go. There. And so if we move in a little bit, we're gonna zoom in. We can see. All right, I had to screenshot it since Orange County Register wants me to pay for their services. There we go. This is County of Alameda, right? And right here we have Kamala Harris, October 20th, 1964, 9:28 p.m. Kaiser Foundation Hospital. And then we can move into her race right here. Right here. This is her race. Can you see it? What does it say? What's it say? Okay.
Well, that says color or race of mother, though.
Okay, hold on. Let's go see.
Good eye. Good eye.
Let's say that. You're right.
I mean, even if it says that, I mean, her mother, she claims her mother's Indian, right?
Yeah,
right.
She is, but they don't have
it does say she's from India on here.
Yeah.
So she's not a U.S. citizen?
No, she is. Her mother's
yeah.
And it says her dad is Jamaican.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on a second. What does it say her color is? It does not say her color on here, but
they don't have it there.
But it does say, okay, we're gonna put it back to everybody. But that was what the birth certificate said. And to me, I didn't think Jamaican was a race. I thought Jamaican was a nationality. But we just gonna let that rock. So
is that what they say for her race? Or that's what they say for
race,
her father?
her father's race is Jamaican.
Mm.
That's not black though, or African, or that's not a race. That's a nationality. There's Asian Jamaicans. There's white Jamaicans. But anyway,
I don't like Kamala's response to race though. I don't like it how easily she can go from one thing to another thing. And that the only like to me, race isn't enough. It's kind of a very high. I don't trust you just because you black. You know, I might give you a shot. You know what I'm saying? The blackness will get you in the door with me. You know what I'm saying? But it's not. It, I live around a lot of black people, man. I can't just be going around trusting every damn body just because you black, man. Like most people in my life are black. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Everybody in my community is black. You know what I'm saying? That don't mean I'm just gonna, I get to choose who I want to vote for. You know what I'm saying? Out of black people. Like just because you're black, it doesn't matter, and that your only tie to blackness really is in college. Like you pledge, and that's cool. That's cool. The AKA should be happy. They got a representative, but
Right.
that's them. That ain't got nothing to do with me. You know what I'm saying? They should applaud you, and they should blindly follow you. They probably shouldn't blindly follow you. I don't blindly follow none of my family. I don't like blind anything really. I like to be well informed,
That's right.
even if it's my family.
Right.
So I do have a concern about you using your blackness in this particular kind of way,
Right.
and your blackness is really kind of anchored in just your college experience. You really don't have this breadth of an experience,
Right.
not in Berkeley or in Canada where you went to high school. So I do have this, and it's kind of obvious. You Whatever your black experience was, it didn't seem to matter when you was prosecuting black people.
Right.
So if we're gonna play the black card, that's how I'm gonna treat it. You know what I'm saying? Your black card got, it got some holes in it. You know what I'm saying? It got some questions on it. So,
Definitely. And like you know, I'm not one to say, oh, so and so's not black enough or what have you. For
I
me,
will. What do you mean? We call people Oreos. We call dude a coon. I question people's blackness all day
we
long.
do call people coons. You're right about
Yeah,
that.
I question people blackness. What do you mean? I'm not gonna weigh somebody blackness. That's all we do on TikTok.
That's
Yeah,
right.
I'm gonna weigh your black. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
gonna weigh your
that's true.
blackness.
That's so true.
I might I might not be. I can't condemn you to death. I can't whatever. I have my own religious philosophies. Whatever.
Right.
I can't send you to heaven or hell. I can't. You know what I'm saying? My judgment is very limited. That's why I say I'm going to evaluate. I
Right.
evaluate people blackness all day long. I
Okay.
evaluate your black card all day long. I run the G check all day long.
Did you see
Yeah.
when somebody said I was half black? I was like, where? I was like, oh gosh, I need to use this multiracial card if I'm half black. Oh my goodness. He's like, you're a half black Negro. I was like, whoa, I didn't know I was. Oh, okay. But
You can do it
yeah,
all day.
no, I got authenticity check because I said we should negotiate with Trump. And so that person's reaction is like, oh, you half black Negro. We don't need like I was like, oh
You gotta
snap.
be mixed. You gotta be mixed to support Trump or
Yeah.
to even want to negotiate with Trump.
Yeah. And now, I may have changed my mind a little bit because his fans are doing a little bit too much, saying a little bit too much. They should be quiet right now if they want reelection.
I think negotiating is one thing. I think me voting, that's a whole nother thing.
Right.
I don't I'm not of this mindset that my ancestors died for me to
Right.
vote. One of the first acts of the Congressional Black Caucus was to hold the vote hostage from their Democratic Party colleague so
Right.
that they could get the candidate that they wanted or somebody that supported their own
That's
on
right.
their ticket.
Right.
So my ancestors actually believed in not voting or voting. They just wanted rights. They wanted to be
Right.
treated like human beings. That's what they died for. So I'm not of that mindset, but I do think people should vote locally. I do think
Right.
people should,
Definitely.
vote down ballot, but I don't know, man. I'm just not, I'm not sold on any party. I'm
Right.
not loyal to either one of these groups, man. And I think I think it's a dangerous thing to be loyal to either one. And
I agree.
Yeah.
at the same time, I don't know if black people have enough leverage or demonstrating the leverage that they have. Let me say it like that. I don't think black people are demonstrating the leverage that they have to get what they need out of these politicians. But they damn sure shouldn't just be blindly voting Democrat, though.
I agree. I agree
They
with
are
that.
taking it for granted.
I definitely agree
Yeah,
with that.
I especially I think I took issue when they disrespected Kwame Ture. I think that was the last straw for me when Clinton went to John Lewis's funeral
Right,
and had the nerve to
right,
run his mouth
right.
in a way John Lewis wouldn't even approve. John Lewis wouldn't approve that message. So, because he was actually friends with Kwame Ture and attended Kwame Ture's
You're right.
funeral.
You're right. They work together.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
literally work together.
right. Right. And so that's what was the most confusing part for me. And I was like, this is a last straw. The Democrats had been disrespecting us like constantly the entire time. And it was like, all right, I see you. I see you. Oh, okay. And so when Clinton did that, and Clinton is like the poster boy for the Democrats, right? Um, and so I even saw a tweet recently. It said, "Dear Black people, please stop inviting Bill Clinton." After he said that about Kwame Ture, so stop inviting him to the barbecue, the cookout, the the saxophone
I was just gonna
solo.
say it. I was just gonna say it.
Stop thinking he's cool because he's inhaled and gotten fellatio in
The
the White House.
problem be it like Toni Morrison is the one that called Clinton the first black president, and it's like how do you question Toni Morrison? You know what I mean?
I know,
Like it's a very the problem is you get these really great people to say things that's like, why don't you shut the hell up?
right?
You don't want to say negative things. You definitely don't want to say it publicly. But the reality is, it's like you didn't need to say that. That was unnecessary and it was stupid. You're great. Your books are excellent. They're going to live for a very long time.
Yeah.
But that was a stupid ass statement. It was inaccurate, and no, you should have asked us first. Before you open your mouth on that, you should have asked us for it. Don't just go get a card out. And I think that becomes the problem. You keep having these luminaries and people who got a lot of rank because they were extremely successful in their career, saying things for everybody. And it's difficult to say that Toni Morrison doesn't represent black people, but at the
It's very
same time, like there has to be a limit. There's a
right,
limit to the representation.
right. And so, can we talk about briefly, and then we'll be wrapping this up pretty soon, the commercialization of Breonna Taylor's death? I've seen quite a few memes. Um, Oprah, for the first time in her magazine, did not have her face on the cover. Right? Um, she put Breonna Taylor on the cover of O Magazine. And you guys I'm sure you're familiar with O Magazine. You see it on the stand. It always has her face and talks about tips on losing weight, and
Does
makeup.
she have anybody other than herself on? Oh, I've never
Never,
seen
No,
anyone
never.
else.
it's
No.
only
This is the first time ever that she had someone other than herself on the cover of O Magazine. Also, Vanity Fair had Breonna Taylor on the cover of their magazine.
Who owns Vanity Fair? That's another thing. Like with Oprah, Oprah doesn't even have a majority stake in OWN anymore. Like I think Discovery owns like majority of stake of OWN. So that's like their thing.
Mhm.
Who owns Vanity Fair?
somebody white.
Somebody rich
Somebody
and white. Who owns Vanity Fair for real though? You know,
But absolutely, it's the concern that I have with Black Lives Matter outside of its organizational as an institution as an organization.
right.
As an organization, they're responsible for whatever they have to be accountable But once we get to this idea of Black Lives Matter, this slogan or whatnot, yeah, I think it's just become a real cheat. It's become an easy catchphrase for marketing, for the marketing departments to latch on to. You know,
Right.
if you just put it on
Yeah.
something, you know, I almost don't even think it's for Black people. I really think it's for white people now.
Definitely.
Me too.
I
Me too. You hit it on
Yeah,
the head. I'm thinking that too, man. It's not to
My
benefit us at all.
it's not to
no,
benefit
my
us.
my
Like
problem
it's
is
white kids buying this stuff. They
people,
look at that as a
Yeah.
brand,
you know, my problem, people shout it out, but they don't have the proper vocabulary to back it up when they're challenged. If you don't know what to say and you're just saying, you know, you want people, I understand your passion, okay? I want everything good for everybody too, but if you're going to represent, you have to represent, okay? You are not going to come with me in that outfit because I'll make sure you change it if you don't represent me. Okay,
Right.
so they have to learn how to bring the vocabulary together and express in a proper
Right.
way to represent the movement, if anything, not the organization, the movement.
Queen
Okay.
Tavon, can you chime in on this a little bit? How we feel about Black Lives Matter has become a brand that is palatable for white people now.
Ooh, you know, mm, trying to choose my words carefully, but it seems like to me that I know there are some white people that are just eager to learn and really do want to be part of the movement. However, I feel like they should not be at the front line. So it's almost kind of as if they want to be in charge and they want to educate.
feel like they
And it's
are.
like,
So
yeah, and it's like I understand you want to educate, but you can't educate us. You have to educate your own.
talk to your
So
people.
Yes.
it's exactly like don't
Just
hop
give me
on
some.
anything that I'm saying and try to correct me, and then you have the fist as a profile pic, and and it's just kind of like fall back
Right, right.
and let us run the show. This is our thing. And when they do show up to these protests and cause chaos, they put us in danger.
Right.
So they have to be very mindful of that
Mm-hmm.
because while you're over there burning buildings and throwing bricks, the black person next to you is the one that catches the bullet.
The face of it is black.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Right.
So yeah, they need to fall
You
back.
know,
Support us. I get it. Be an ally. I get it. But you cannot run it.
I would dare to say I never asked for allies. Um,
Okay.
I feel that.
it's always got to be you.
I feel that.
um, I'm
Wow.
because you know, you either want your freedom or you don't. You either want to be liberated or you don't. And if you're waiting around for other people's approval or other people to get on board, it's not going to happen. And so that's what the problem is with um, a lot of these instances where we consider people to be allies is that they feel like they can hop in the conversation and drive the car. You know what I mean? And I didn't ask you to be here. It's okay if you want to come along for the ride, but I didn't ask for any of this.
But to me,
Yes.
that's the danger of the Black Lives. Once it stops being an institution, once it stops being controlled by the organization, then anybody can latch on to it. You know what I'm saying? At
Right,
any point in time, you can throw the shirt on and you can go show up and you can throw your brick, you can burn your building. You know, you
right,
can whatever you're doing. Hang around with your AR-15, loaded or unloaded, whatever you got going on.
right,
The problem is there is nobody really there to hold you accountable. A lot of these videos we have, the Asian women, I hate to call them Asian because I know that's what that is, but they was Asian. The Asian women in their store spray painting Black Lives Matter on their building and all that to protect their building. It's like this is kind of a violation, man.
Right.
Like when we even though we might not burn your building down because you're Asian, but you ain't got to go all that far, man, with the BLM on your building, man. Now it's like you false flagging. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Definitely.
And there isn't any accountability on the ground. Anybody at any moment, especially online. Let me finish what I was saying about offline. On the ground, any of these people can represent whatever it is they want to represent, and we don't know what you're standing for.
Right.
Black Lives Matter as a slogan can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people, and I may not necessarily make the right assumptions about what you really out there for, because Black Lives Matter is a reform operation. It's not about anarchists. They have no true political government organization. They're not there to discuss the organization of a system of economy or a system of governance.
Right.
Their predominant mission is about the stopping, a police reform
Right.
and some other things tacked on it that are social issues, which I have absolutely no problem with. But the reality is, as an organization, they're not talking about a lot of things that some of these white guys on the ground are discussing. And when we start talking about online, man, it's completely ridiculous. I think most of the people who are benefiting from the black squares on IG and the fist avatars on TikTok, most of them are white. I think most
Definitely.
of them benefited from that more than I did.
Right. Right. Definitely. And so, and if you look at a lot of these allies that are on TikTok, I think sometimes Black people love to hear white people cater to our ideas, right?
Especially white women.
Right, especially, and so it's it's okay to do that, but like, what if I became the face of the LGBTQ movement as a heterosexual Black woman? You know what I mean? A lot of
A
people would
lot of
have a
people would be
problem
in
with
their
that,
feelings.
right? A lot of people would be. And I'd be like, oh, well, one time I had an experience in college, so I'm still part of you guys.
Right.
No, I'm not saying that's what happened.
Uh,
I don't want to. I'm not saying that, but this is literally what gets thrown in our face. Like, I've screwed a Black man, or I've screwed a Black woman, so I get to be an ally, and because of that, um, I'm an authority in this sector. That's what I'm saying. Um, I don't want to come off as saying anything disrespectful, but I'm saying, like, that's the comparison for me. So, you know, it's good for them to tag along, but I don't really, like Malcolm X said, I don't see them trying to put Black people on. You know what I'm saying? The white people who do nothing but BLM post, I don't see them like duetting small people and stuff like that. Oh, he's gone. So
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
but we're gonna
My
wrap
battery
this
is
up.
close to there. Yeah, my battery.
We're gonna wrap this up, you guys. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Oh, he's back. He's back. He's back. Okay, I thought he was gone. We thought you were gone for a second.
Not yet.
Okay. So we're gonna wrap this up pretty much right now. Um, I'll go in the opposite way of what I did for introductions. Al Asylum, do you have any last words?
Yeah, genocide. Yeah, I think we're not hearing the word genocide enough. We're not hearing the phrase ethnic cleansing, racial cleansing enough. I think that we need to tie this all of these events into one idea. White people are still killing black people. They still want to get us off the land, and the police are helping. And
Mhm.
and if that's not a part of the narrative, if I don't hear those words in the celebrity or the activist conversation, I'm gonna tune you out.
Right. Okay.
Follow Owl's Asylum on all your social media.
Follow Owl's Asylum on all of your social media, you guys. And Black Samurai, do you have anything, any last words?
Yeah. Fight the good fight. The only thing you have to lose is your life, and that's the main thing that's important. And I'm Black Samurai on TikTok. I have multiple names on other outlets, but yeah, it'd take too long. So yeah, just follow me on TikTok.
All righty then. Queen Tovon, do you have any last words?
Yep, I do. For my people, Black people, we need to build a closed community for the sake of our survival. This is something that we need to do because we are being killed off. And
Right.
it's important that we do this. This is vital. This is for survival.
Okay, and Mrs. Curvy Impact.
Nothing much. Just follow me. I do. I know I'm always raggedy. I'm sorry, y'all. But just follow me. I do graphics. I never talk about what I do. I create. I create online courses. So I develop and design online courses. So for a company university, not for like scamming. You know how to do that. But yeah, that's what I do. So I do graphics, invitations, things like that. Y'all can follow me. When something comes to my mind, I post. Okay, so I really don't have much to say, but I just want everybody to be accountable, especially if you're going to support Black people at this time. Be accountable for your actions, your speech, uh, the energy you put out, the message you put out. We don't need nobody trying to speak for us. We have mouths because remember we're too loud, right? We can talk and just let's get this thing done because I don't want to be Trina Montana. I don't want to go there.
Right. And so I'm Abstruse. I'm on Abstrusita on Instagram, Abstruse13 on everything else. And so my finishing words are basically let's stay vigilant and let us find a way to build our own communities in a way that we can have trust and we can be safe together. There's safety in numbers. And so definitely get to know our neighbors and get to know each other so that we can be safe together. So we are our neighbors' keepers.
Yeah.
All right. Thank
Let's
you
get
guys
that
so
food
much
pile
for
locked up.
joining.
No,
Thanks for having me.
Bye.
Yeah.
All
Nice
right,
meeting
peace.
everybody.